to victory lane in the 600?
Well, we got a good start at it. We'll just have to wait and see, but I think the Budweiser 4 is running well.
Track conditions going to change it all on you today?
I'm sure it will. If the clouds come over this afternoon, it'll cool off, but, right now it'll be pretty slick.
Okay, let's go back in the grid where Dick Berggren, editor of Stock Car Racing Magazine, is standing by with a guy that can win a bunch of money today. Dick?
That's right. If Davey Allison can win this race this afternoon, he gets a $1 million bonus from Winston. But last Saturday night, he was involved in a grinding crash that knocked him cold at this same racetrack. And the question is, Davey, can you run all 600 miles today?
Well, Dick, we've got a million reasons to stay in it, and we're going to try to take this Texaco Haviland Thunderbird from back here in 17th place up to the lead and try to win this thing. It's a long day. It's 400 laps. There's no sense in being in any big hurry in the early stages of it. Larry and I have talked, and we know we're going to have to make some adjustments along the way, and we'll just try to have the best line of communication we can until the checker flag falls.
Well, I'm up here on row 1 on the outside of Bill Elliott where Kyle Petty is strapping in. Unfortunately, these guys have already got a problem. They've got a radio communication problem. They've switched the radios out, trying to talk to Kyle to make sure they'll be able to go the distance with these radios, as crew chief Robin Pemberton talking with Kyle. So hopefully these problems will subside and Kyle will not have a problem, because certainly communications in this sport is everything.
One of the major stories here will be Richard Petty today. He will be starting back in 12th position in this, his final 31st performance in the 600. Now let's join the 82nd Airborne Chorus in the singing of our national anthem. Welcome, America, to Charlotte, North Carolina, home of the 600. And welcome to a great American hero starting in 12th position, standing by with Dr. Dick Berggren.
Richard Petty, a great qualifying run. What do you anticipate for your final World 600?
Well, we don't know. That's what we'll come to find out, I guess. A little harder than what we anticipated, but we'll go out and run and make adjustments accordingly.
The crowd seemed to be on their feet when you came around. Do you sense the enthusiasm all these people have for you?
Yeah, I really do, and I really appreciate it. I want you to go out and try to help them out a little bit, okay?
Richard Petty, the king.
42 cars are at the ready. Let's go down to the STP Pit Communication Center. Standing by there to cover the action today will be Rick Benjamin. But we're getting the command to fire the engine right now from Bruton Smith.
Coca-Cola 600 is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. By Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars. By Autolite spark plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. And by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts.
You're looking live at today's starting lineup for the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Brett Bodine on the outside row at the head of that particular group of cars. Welcome to the STP Pit Communications Center. I'm Rick Benjamin. A host of stories we'll keep you updated on all afternoon long. We've talked about the 42 starters today. The final ride in this event for King Richard Petty. The heat could be a big factor. We're expecting trackside temperatures as high as 120 or perhaps 125 degrees. It's already about 90 in the air here at Charlotte, North Carolina today. We're also going to be keeping track of some other things, some other stories to tell you about. We expect visits today from Jeff Gordon and Todd Bodine, who were at the forefront of yesterday's running of the Champion Spark Plug 300 here at Charlotte, which we brought to you live on TBS. And a little later on today, you'll have an opportunity to participate in the Gillette Halfway Challenge. If you can make a call to our special number, we'll give that to you a little later on. You may win a brand new Chevrolet Lumina for your troubles if you name the correct driver who's leading at halfway. All those stories and more coming up down here later on.
Field just about ready to be given the command. I believe they're getting 3 preliminary laps today, Neil, before they're going to turn them loose.
They usually give them several laps to warm them up, but we're just talking about how hot it is, and 3 laps will be plenty to get these motors ready to go.
They may cut it back to 2, we're now being told. Earlier this morning, and in the drivers' meeting, the consideration had been 3. Anything else out of the drivers' meeting this morning we should talk about?
Well, I think they're just telling everybody to use their heads early in this race at 600 miles, but when you're talking to 40 of the best race car drivers in the world, you don't need to remind them. I think everybody's got a game plan, and you'll see it unfold during the day.
So here you see, we're back to row 6. And let's take a look now at the starting lineup for the 33rd annual Coca-Cola 600. On the pole with the new record, Bill Elliott in car number 11, the 3rd time he's been there. Alongside is Kyle Petty, who won this race in 1987. In row 2, it's Ricky Rudd and Brett Bodine. Row 3, Arkansas's Mark Martin and Ken Schrader from Missouri. Row 4 today, Rusty Wallace, who won it in '90, and Alan Kowicki. In row 5 is Sterling Marlin from Tennessee and Dick Trickle. In row 6, it's California's Ernie Irvan and Richard Petty, the 2-time winner. Row 7 is Dale Earnhardt looking for his 2nd win in this race, and Terry Labonte. Row 8 is Michael Waltrip and Ted Musgrave. Row 9, Davey Allison, defending champion, and Darrell Waltrip, the 5-time winner. Row 10 is Jeff Bodine. He's been here, done well. Jimmy Hensley in the 66 car, Cale Yarborough, and the rest of the field. Dave Mader III has qualified well. In there with Bobby Hamilton for row 11. Row 12, Dale Jarrett and Bobby Hillen. Going to row 13 is Morgan Shepherd, Harry Gantz there. Row 14 is Greg Sachs from New York, Huck Strickland from Alabama, Stan Smith and Derek Cope. In row 15, it's Rick Mast and Joe Rutland stepping in there in the bottom end of row 16. Row 17, Jim Sauter, Gary Ballou. Row 18, Dave Marcus in his 21st performance. Row 19, Jimmy Spencer, Wally Dallenbach. Row 20 will be Randy Porter and Bob Schatt back there. And then in the provisional starters, there's Jimmy Means and Charlie Glotzback, a former pole sitter back in 1971, starting 42nd on the field. 1 more to green. Quick look at the course.
And this thing is a big tri-oval, start and finish line right here in the dogleg in the middle of the front straightaway. Big sweeping turn down in turn 1, easy exit off 2. The banking is 5 degrees on the straightaways. Each straightaway has 5 degrees. You get down in the corners, you're dealing with 24 in each end. Don't let it fool you. It shows the same numbers, different corners. Real tricky off 2, real tricky off of 4. So it's a little bit harder to get off 4 than it is at 2 at particular times during the day. We have a lot of spins.
Riding in the 5th place car inside of row 3 with Batesville, Arkansas, Mark Martin, the Valvoline Ford, taking you down the backstretch as we get set to go. And now you're about to be with Dale Jarrett further back in the field, as he'll also be giving us some strong pictures today, hoping for a good finish. car number 18. Here's Jimmy Hensley, Trop Arctic car, getting set for a start today. Joe Ruttman will also be giving us some pictures. Here they are, car number 20, the Orkin car, as we prepare for a start. Pace car is coming in, 400 laps. Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready for the Coca-Cola 600.
The start is going to be very critical, Ken. Positioning early in this race, you get shuffled back. These guys will race real hard on this first lap to get a good starting position.
Everybody clear through one. Into the back straightaway for the first time on this mile-and-a-half track. And a move on the back straightaway as they stack them up. Here's Ricky Rudd going for the lead on the bottom of the racetrack. Ernie Irvin falling off the pace and sliding back through the field. Hutch Strickland, the number 12, getting around it. Back with the leaders as they come to the line. Ricky Rudd leads the first lap. Kyle Petty slithers down to the inside, stays in second. Bill Elliott on the high side. The pole sitter back in third. Brett Bodine in fourth for the moment, and having it taken away right there as they slip into the back straightaway.
This might be something we see all day. See Rudd move to the inside. The GM guys are trying to work with the other GM drivers, and Ford's working with Ford. You're going to see a little team workmanship all day long, trying to help each other as the day goes on.
Kyle Petty working on that second spot against Bill Elliott as they complete lap number 2. Ken Schrader rides in that 5th spot. Going to 6 is Alan Kowicki up from 8. Brett Bodine sliding back to 6th position from 4th, and Mark Martin now 7th as they go around turn 2. In the back straightaway, the leader is number 5, and it's still even Steven. Back straightaway, Kyle Petty for the moment gets a little bit of advantage. There's the quick interval that's being developed by Ricky Rudd over Kyle Petty in second, then the number 11, and here comes the 25, Schrader. He's a bomb out there.
That's something we haven't seen all year, that GMs be able to work on these Fords even at the start of these races. There's 3 General Motors products taking the lead away from Elliott, and I don't know if he's just pacing himself or what, but you can't pace in this type of racing. So it's unbelievable to see the Chevrolets take off like they did.
Dick Bergen, what about this Rudd car taking off like this?
He is a rocket ship out there, he sure is, but I'm also watching Ernie Irvin rocket his way to the back of the field. It sounds like he's running on about 6 cylinders. They changed the motor on that car this morning, Ken, and the motor they put in it is not running on all 8.
That's a deal where they'll just try right now to ride it out and hope for a caution. There's no reason to pit now. If they can stay out and catch a caution, they'll have to see what's wrong. If not, they got to come in on green.
See Tony Glover looking anxiously on. And there you see Ricky Rudd. This is his 16th 600, and would you believe this? This is only the 2nd time that he has led in the 600.
It's hard to believe it. That little thing of Kyle Petty's coming in there behind him. Kyle has been the strongest car in practice every time they open the track.
Battle to 12th position. Earnhardt, Allison. Saturday night, Winston, all over again. Here they come through 4. Davey Allison driving car 10. They a little touch there, huh? Hello?
Looked like
Welcome
a little bit close right there, but it's early in the race, and Davey moved outside, was able to get around Dale on the outside.
Earnhardt down on the bottom. Allison on the outside. Allison driving hurt today, black and blue, all down the left side of his body from that hard crash on Saturday night in the Winston when he won $300,000. Still doesn't remember. Starting 17th. What's your strategy, Davey?
Overdo it in the early stages of the race.
Here he is in a pretty good little war with Dale Earnhardt in the number 3 as we get things started. Schrader has pulled himself back to 3rd spot. Up in front, it remains Ricky Rudd.
Sometimes you don't have that luxury of pacing yourself. Just the starting position Davey was in right now, he's a quarter of a lap behind, so he's going to have to run the car hard. You talk about pacing yourself, but still these guys are cranking out 170-plus mile-an-hour laps leading the race, so it's going to make him have to run hard to catch him.
Kyle Petty, 1987 winner of the 600, trying for a second, closes in, moves ever tighter on Ricky Rudd in number 5. This for the lead. They're working lap number 8.
And while they're working, Kyle is working the apron of this racetrack. That's been his strong suit all during the Winston, all during practice. Watch how low he runs on the racetrack. See the Ricky Rudd up high. Kyle Petty's running around the apron, and see the advantage there. He's able to run right up under Ricky. There's Jimmy Means' car going out, smoking.
The number 52 backing off, and look at this battle for the lead. Look at it quickly because Kyle's saying goodbye. Kyle Petty back out in front another time. He was so dominant in much of the Winston back on Saturday night, that $1 million race. First super speedway race under the lights held right here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And that's one of the 3 cars that figured so importantly in that last lap.
They talk about second-guessing someone. That's not the car Kyle ran in the Winston. That's a separate car, a new car, and they brought us a different car for the race.
Take a look at this bunch up for the lead. Alan Kowicki right on the tail end of that for 4th. Rudd takes a look on the inside of Kyle Petty. The number 7 car, Kowicki, closes in on number 25, Schrader, who is driving really hurt today. Imagine a herniated disc. He may have to have it operated on early in the season here. But he's out here. He says he feels most comfortable. He can hardly move his neck, but he feels most comfortable. He slides down into that racing seat.
Somebody like Kenny Schrader, as much as he likes to race, he'd feel good in there with broken legs. I'm telling you, the place he wants to be is in that race car right there running these big races.
And Rick Hendrick has said to him, don't worry about it. Go to the hospital. Get yourself fixed. You've got to ride with me. You've been here a while. I like you, but Schrader wants this race bad. You just saw Kowicki pull into 3rd spot. So as they're now deployed, it's Pontiac in 1st. Chevrolet runs in 2nd, and Kowicki's Ford is maintaining 3rd spot. There are now 10 laps complete in the 33rd running of the Coca-Cola 600. Hut Strickland at the controls has just lost control in turn 4. Slammed the outside wall and brought out the first caution of the day at lap 14. The Ray Vestas car now fires up. But just before that happened, Richard Petty's number 43 had gone all the way from 12th up into 8th position. Let's take a look at what happened to Richard Petty just about 10 seconds before Strickland went in the wall.
Here he goes down in the 3rd turn. He's really been gaining on Mark Martin. The car gets away from him. Looks like it doesn't turn. He takes off the wall. The back end, watch, Richard does a good job here. Right front gets in the wall. He's trying to keep it on the wall to keep out of traffic, and he gets it straightened out. Right after this is when Hut Strickland spun right in that particular part.
Right there, just as he got it straightened out, Hut Strickland had that Ray Vestas car in trouble, number 12. Let's take a look at exactly what happened to Hut Strickland.
Looks like there might have been something on the racetrack right there, because both cars broke loose and took off to the outside of the track in the same position. Hut backs it up in the wall here, sitting in a terrible place right in the high-speed part of the track, but everyone's able to get under him. He does a good job of holding the car high on the track.
30-year-old Hut Strickland Chevrolet takes him for a wild ride in his 4th 600. Here comes Petty's car in. We can get a look at the damage on the right side. There's the leader, Kyle Petty, now pitting. This taking place at lap 16. Mark Martin is also coming in.
That's just the 2 of the lead cars came in. None of the other leaders came in, but Kyle and the number 6 car, Mark had been complaining about a little bit of problem with the car, so it's unusual to see these guys come in this early in the race as good as that car was running.
16 laps, and only 16 laps have been completed. That's about 24 miles. There's Richard Petty's number 43. That side, of course, looking fine. It's that outside part that took the beating as it rimmed up against the concrete wall. What do you think?
Well, I was trying to see if it knocked the camber out of the right front wheel, if it knocked the wheel over, but it doesn't look that bad. Richard's car's got a lot of roll bar equipment right out against the outside. Maybe it leaned on the chassis a little bit, not on the wheels. Piece of duct tape. They were working on the car with duct tape, and the guy didn't get finished before they left. They'll have to bring him back in and let him pull that off.
So Richard Petty, 54 years old, twice a winner of this event, 1975 and 1977, both from Dodges. Have to come back in and get a little work done there.
Well, Richard Petty just came over the radios right after he had hit the wall up there, and he said, fellas, I lost my brakes. So other than the toe end being out on the right front, Neil, the bottom line is Richard is running around with a little less brake than normal, and that could present a major problem with 580-some miles to go here.
But on the other hand, remember all those great races that Richard Petty won that year when he just dominated 110 in a row? And the point was that time after time he finished race after race with no brakes.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, this is a tough place to come around without him on there, though. Let's go down to Dick Bergeron and see what happened to Hut Strickland's car.
Well, I'm going to ask a guy who knows for sure, his owner, Bobby Allison. How bad is this car, Bobby?
Well, unfortunately, there's some damage on the back end there. The guys think they can get the sheet metal fixed. Looks like the chassis is still okay.
They got their work cut out for them. Part of the damage is to the fuel filling system. They'll have a problem.
Well, there's Hut Strickland, who's
Rick
qualified
Benjamin
in
in Pit Central. Rick?
Well, Dick, certainly as we watch Hut Strickland move back down pit lane, there will be a lot of work to be done on pit road, especially by the Bobby Allison crew. We also see the Ernie Irvin car there on pit road. They've been working with a plug wire problem, perhaps a carburation problem, we understand, to try to get the 8 cylinders in that automobile firing evenly and get Irvin back up to race speed. An opportunity for you at home, though, today to participate in the Coca-Cola 600 and win a brand new automobile by taking part in the Gillette Halfway Challenge. Before halfway in today's race, here's the phone number to call. 1-900-436-7000. That's a 95-cent call. You must be 18 or older. If we call you back after halfway and you can tell us who's the leader at halfway today at the 200-lap mark, you'll win a brand new Chevrolet Lumina Z34 from Gillette. And it's a great way to get involved in today's action. So please make the call now. We'll keep you posted throughout the race. And, of course, we'll let you know who wins today's Gillette Halfway Challenge. Also, there's $10,000 up for the driver who's leading at halfway today here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Hut Strickland's number 12, owned by Bobby Allison, 3-time winner of this event, being administered to after a hard cloud on the 4th turn wall here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
When we saw Petty a while ago go in that corner, we said the front end looked like something happened to the front end. The front end took away from him. We also saw him come in and pit, and you saw the rear wheels lock up on the car as he was pitting. These cars have dual master cylinders. He must have only rear brakes. That's the reason the car tried to get away from him going down in the corner. The front end wouldn't slow down, just took off from him as he turned in.
Hut Strickland's car had finished 6th here a year ago. He's got a lot of work cut out if he ever intends to get that close again. He may be going to lap down right here. More from Charlotte live in the 600 in a moment. Before this massive crowd, I'm sure it's the largest crowd ever at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Neil. Getting set on a restart, and as we do, you see Ricky Rudd in front with the pit stops recently. Alan Kowicki in 2nd. Going 3rd is Ken Schrader. 4th is Elliott. 5th is Wallace as we get ready to go. Should Winston Cup drivers race in Busch Grand National? Remember our question from yesterday? 83% say keep them right in there. Keep them trucking.
Makes for a great show.
Thank you very much for calling. Appreciate it.
Great show and good training for the Busch guys. They really love it.
Pictures out. Here we are, ready on a restart. Getting ready for a go. Pace car is in. Back in 7th, Labonte. 8th, Davey Allison. 9th is Earnhardt. 10th is Marlin. 11th is Teddy Musgrave. Jeff Bodine is in 12th. Waltrip is in 13th as they come streaking back to the line. Let's go back to Mark Martin, who finds himself in the Valvoline car back in 27th position to start. Watch him come up. Didn't take him long to get to 167 miles an hour on that start. At Ford Telemetry, giving you a picture of what happened. Whoa, a little bouncing, a little rippling there as they get going.
Looks like Kyle Petty got into the side of the car right there on the inside and really ricocheted him out. And here's down the back straight. Watch the RPM at 82, 83, 8,300. Rolls out and touches the brake pedal just to set the car in the corner. He's looking under Kyle here. If you notice, the lowest the RPM went was like 66 or 6,700. The motors stay at high RPM all day long on this racetrack.
Getting around Joe Ruttman, that puts them up to the 24th and 25th positions. Cars 42 and 6 respectively as they dash through the field from the rear after their pit stops. Meanwhile, in the lead, it's Ricky Rudd Chevrolet. Alan Kowicki's Ford Thunderbird, number 7, lies in that 2nd spot. Maintaining 3rd is still Schrader, while back there in 4th is Bill Elliott. Rusty Wallace creeps up in the Roger Penske Pontiac to 5th position.
Boy, Kowicki's holding Ford's end of it up. He's right there battling for the lead. Looks like he's got a lot of car. Rudd's going to have his hands full holding him back. When Rudd came out here to practice, they brought 2 cars. We've been here for virtually 2 weeks getting ready for this race, and they bring a different car every time they came out here. Looks like they picked the one that's doing the best job for them right now.
Let's take a look a little further back at how Mark Martin is faring as he tries to come up through the field. Here you see him with Kyle Petty working as they try to move around. They've already knocked down 2 more cars. That gets them up to 22nd and 23rd positions, respectively, as they come down this main straightaway. Mark Martin fading, going up to the outside, get a little running room there. Here's Davey Allison in the car, number 28. He's running in 7th position for the moment.
He just passed several cars. He started well back. They had a little bit of problem qualifying with that new car, and he's really been working his straight way through. They tried on the outside of Bodine. He couldn't quite get around him earlier. He's really been coming through the pack.
Kenny Bernstein car running in 6th position, number 26. Brett Bodine is there. Brett had a good qualifying run. Look at him stay down on the bottom. He qualified that Ford in 4th place. Davey Allison in 010, the 007 car that won here last year, won the Winston for 2 years, destroyed back on Saturday night in the Winston. It's This number 28's looking good. Here they are closing in. You see at the top of the frame there, number 11, then the 2 car. There's the 11. That's Bill Elliott. He's in 4th, followed by Wallace, Bodine, Allison. That's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
There's Davey going to the outside of Bodine. He's able to clear him on the outside. Bill Elliott just went around the 2 car, Rusty Wallace, and looks like they're on the move. Bodine fighting right back on the inside. He didn't give that position up very easily. Boy, this weather really threw all of these teams a curve today. It's been fairly cool. We haven't had, and just think we did a lot of night practicing, getting ready for the Winston. These guys spent a lot of the time practicing at night. Big hot day today, a lot of track temperature, and the guys started guessing this morning. These crew chiefs had to guess what it took. The ones that hit it are going to look like heroes. The rest of them got some work to do.
Back to Mark Martin. He is now in 18th position. Here he is closing up on the Dave Mater, the 3rd car, number 9, running in 17th position. And that Ford telemetry giving you an idea of the paces the Roush Ford is being put through by Mark Martin on this 1.5 miles off the 24-degree banking. Takes it outside. The old number 9, the Elliott campaign, finished 2nd twice in this race with. Now Dave Mater, the 3rd, a very good campaigner out of your part of the country.
Dave ran a lot of short track. Here's Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott going at it now.
4th place, side by side. Number 2, Wallace on the inside. It's Bill Elliott on the high side. Takes it right up around in turn 3 into 4. Here they come over the bump. Down the main straightaway. Look at this battle, and Davey Allison wanting a piece of this action.
Which guy do you think he's going to try to work with? He's not going to jump behind that Pontiac. He's going to jump in behind that Ford and see if the 2 of them can put Rusty out. Just as soon as I said, Davey tries inside, but he'll probably swing high on the outside coming off this corner.
Just behind them is Terry Labonte, the Billy Hagan car, number 94 in 8th spot. You see it there, the Sunoco car, and that was having a good run today. Back comes Wallace. Wallace in number 2, looking as stout as he has for some time, and look at this battle for the lead. Slipping and sliding on the inside, Alan Kowicki going for it. I think he grabbed first place, too close to call. Back they come. The 5 leans on the 7. Rudd on the high, 3 wide. Here comes Schrader down to the bottom of the racetrack. It's Ken Schrader low. Ricky Rudd is high. Alan Kowicki says, thank you, 600 miles. I'll wait a little while before I do that.
Let me tell you what, the manufacturers will tell these drivers, oh, do not get 3 abreast. The inside car does not have any air on it. As soon as they got him 3 abreast, you saw Kowicki's car break loose, and he had to get out of the gas. That 3 abreast kills him.
But you're seeing the best stock car drivers in the world. They can pull it off. Do not try this in your backyard.
But you saw how good it told them not to try it, didn't
Yeah,
you? They made
right.
a pretty good effort, and we're just 31 laps in the 400, so these guys are really laying back.
Schrader says, hey, let's go racing, and he did. All right, take a look at this. Here's Wallace down to the inside. Here comes Elliott trying to reel him in. And the awesome one from Dawsonville, Georgia, Bill Elliott on the high side. Wallace comes right back after him. Davey Allison hangs right in there. What a picture. 4th, 5th, 6th position. Slugfest. Here comes Bodine back in the bottom. And there you see that Sunoco colors in there, as well as Earnhardt in the number 3. Dale Earnhardt comes to 8th. Terry Labonte gets dropped back to 9th. What a race this one is. We're 32 laps into it. 400 laps the distance.
They probably called him on the radio and said just 370 to go, so they decided
Might
to race.
get with the program.
That's right.
How about Bill Elliott getting around to that slugfest, pulls himself in the 4th. The front 3 trying to gather up some steam and pull away from the rest of these guys. They like to get sorted out from the likes of Earnhardt. There are the 3 leaders. There you see Schrader in front. You see Rudd, and you see Kowicki. Now look back how much of an interval they've developed here, Neil. Whoa.
But what brought a lot of that on was that passing. They got side by side in that second group. They were swapping positions, and that in-line racing up front enabled them to get away just a little bit. Every time Bill goes in the corner, gets a little bit high. Watch Rusty Wallace on that inside car, the black car, just stick it right down on the bottom and try to get that position back.
That interval is shortening up between those front 3. Here is Mark Martin. He's closed up on Musgrave now, and that is 12th position. So Martin has moved to 13th. He's moved around Waltrip. He was running in 14th just half a lap ago. Here he is up on Ted Musgrave in car number 55. Mark Martin having a beautiful run out of the back of the field. And along comes Kyle Petty as well as they make their charge back toward the top.
Mark's really having to use his time and bide his time and not get in a big hurry. He's got all day to get to the front. His car's capable of getting back up there.
Wallace at it again. Here comes Earnhardt to the bottom. Davey Allison on the outside, and Dale Earnhardt muscles his way on the bottom of the racetrack. The Intimidator, number 3, looking for his second 600 win. Looking good right here.
You know, it wasn't a hype before this race. We've seen so much Ford dominance. Everybody said maybe GM has closed that gap. And it looks like they might not have an edge, but it looks like they're capable of racing them a little bit better than they have all season. Who knows how this thing will turn out.
Oh, wow. Takes you back to Saturday night in that run for $300,000. All you need is Kyle Petty, right?
Let me tell you what, the run's for pride right now. It's 600 miles, but everybody's wanting to show them that they can race these leaders.
But remember that for Davey Allison, this race is $1 million. He can win this race today, since he has already won the Winston 500 at Talladega, and he won the Daytona 500. If he wins today, he collects $1 million in additional funds beyond the $1 million that's put up in the purse. Got a lot at stake in that car. And Neil Bonnet drove this car a lot this week because Davey was banged up. He was hurt. He was black and blue. Your reaction to this new car, Neil?
I tell you what, the thing drove unbelievable. Davey Allison asked me, he said, do you use a helmet strap on that goes up under your arm to support your helmet? And I said, Davey, I've never used them. He said, well, get you one and hook it on the front of the helmet and hook it on the stool. Well, this thing will snatch a knot in your neck when you mash your gas. And
put your head right through the back window.
Yes, sir, and I'm telling you, it is stout. It's a lot of race car. Drives extremely well. You can see why they win as many races.
To the STP Pit Center, Rick Benjamin.
Ken, one of the stories we're following is the progress of Hut Strickland and the Bobby Allison crew. Now, Strickland brought out the first caution this afternoon a few laps back when he spun coming out on the 4th turn. A lot of sheet metal damage to the rear. We understand there may be an airflow problem inside the car. Let's go pit side with Dick Berggren.
Rick, it's probably 100 degrees here on pit road, but Bobby Allison, what is going on with Hut Strickland and the air inside that race car?
Well, we think what happened when the Rebestis Lumina got hit there in the rear, it tore the panel out of the wheel well. That's letting a lot of hot air into the car. Now, it may be also getting into the intake for his hose on his helmet. So we'll have to look at that.
That's the story on the number 12, the Rebesta Chevy of Hut Strickland. Now, one of the things that's happened is Mark Martin has sorted himself out. He's pulled up into that 11th spot, but Kyle Petty is back in 16th. You see Mark really on the assault here, making a tremendous charge. And look at Earnhardt come after Elliott. This is for fourth position now at stake. Oh!
Earnhardt had just passed Davey Allison and the 26 car behind there went up, and now he's battling with Elliott for 4th place.
Gave him a little right jab, just a little right jab. Let him know he was there. He says, yeah, I know all about that. Here's Davey Allison right with him again. I tell you what, those GM cars are running well. Schrader is out in front. Remember, Ford has won every race this year. Can Chevrolet turn it around here in this $1 million Coca-Cola 600? It's Chevy running first and second. Ford running in third. Then Chevy, Ford back to 5th with Elliott. Pretty good mix out there in the early going.
I tell you, a little caution in the wind. What's happening here, these guys are going for broke, and these cars, a lot of these Chevrolet cars are pulling a ton of gear, which is really turning a lot of RPM. They've got to go 600 miles to win it. There's a lot of them gambling.
Now you got a couple of Fords cranked right here going after each other. Elliott on the outside, Allison on the inside through 3 and 4. All this action at almost 170 mile an hour. Now, at 45 miles, 30 laps, the average speed was 131,707. And regular race fans, you know the story. Richard Petty holds the mark for this record. That mark was set in 1975 at 145 miles an hour, 4 hours, 7 minutes, 43 seconds. Everyone was saying that record cannot stay. It's going to go away today, and it will be done by the tremendous cornering speeds they picked up. Cautions will tell the story. Look at Elliott on the high side at number 11. Roll that Thunderbird around Davey Allison.
Boy, just before we got to that shot, they got together going in the 3rd turn and kind of bounced off each other and went through there just laying on each other.
Over 150,000 folks here, Neil, enjoying this great battle as Earnhardt, Elliott, Allison, Schrader, Rudd all mix it up in the 33rd running of the Coca-Cola 600.
The Coca-Cola 600 underway here on TBS. You're looking at live pictures from our Pennzoil aerial platform. Alan Kulwicki in second spot there, chasing race leader Ken Schrader down into turn 3 on the 1.5-mile trioval here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's been an exciting early race so far as we watch Kulwicki reel in Schrader on the main straightaway through the dog leg. Opportunities galore for you to get involved in today's Coca-Cola 600. Maybe the most exciting is to be a part of our Gillette Halfway Challenge. Once again, you can participate in the Gillette Halfway Challenge. Gillette, the maker of Right Guard Antiperspirant, deodorant, and the Sensor shaving system. $10,000 will go to the driver who's leading on lap 200 at the halfway point today. And if you call us now, here's the phone number, 1-900-436-7000. It's a 95-cent call. You must be 18 or over. You can get entered in today's sweepstakes. If you can tell us, if we call you back after the halfway point, you can tell us who's in the lead at halfway. You'll win a brand new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. You could also qualify for an instant prize if you have the correct UPC code from a package from Gillette. So get on the phone, call us now at 1-900-436-7000. Be a part of today's Gillette Halfway Challenge here in the Coca-Cola 600.
Back with the leaders, Kulwicki closing on Schrader. Schrader's best finish a year ago, runner-up in the 600. Wants this one bad. Ken Schrader out of Missouri, Fenton, Missouri, stays just in front. And look at this battle. Here comes Brett Bodines, number 26, being challenged. Bill Elliott there on the outside. This is for 6. Elliott in number 11, rides in 6. Bodine is in 7. At 40 laps, 60 miles. The speed in 10 laps have climbed from 131 to 135 mile an hour average as they go after that record of Richard Petty back in 1975 at 145 miles an hour. Bill Elliott, here's the reason that people think Bill Elliott's a great speaker.
Well, you got to. You know, if you don't, somebody might put you a lap down, but, you know, it's just a situation. If a car's going to live, it's going to live. If not, it ain't.
Okay, Neil, translate.
He's from Dawsonville. I can't translate that. I'm from Alabama. He's talking wrong language for me.
You're just now apart, aren't you?
Yeah, we're real close here. I tell you what, talking about close, every time we look up, Bill's racing somebody. He was with Davey Allison just a minute ago. Davey cleared him, got by. Now Brett Bodine's really working on him. Bill, you know, it's hard to tell if Bill's having a problem or he's content. He's the kind of guy that knows how much car. When I say content, look at his car slide high. I don't think he wants it. I think he's going to have to come in first caution and work on the car, because as he goes in, it looks like the car scoots up in the corner and they're able to get under it right there.
I'll tell you what, if you want to listen to Georgia speak, you want to go down to Perkle's Pool Room there in Dawsonville, Georgia, which is a museum to Bill Elliott, and they really would like to get that siren whaling today. Look at Mark Martin close up again. Here he is up to 9th position, closing on Terry Labonte. Mark Martin getting beneath car number 11. Labonte takes his shot down to the bottom of the racetrack. And there's something to miss on car number 11. That Junior Johnson car riding far too high. He doesn't want to be up there.
No, he's having to chase the car. It looks sometimes like you drive a car up there, but if the rear end's coming out from under, you have to steer to the right, just like anyone on wet pavement or whatever. And he chases the car up the racetrack to keep it from coming around. And he's using up way too much racetrack. They're going to do a little bit of work on it.
Little figure skating out here at 180 miles an hour, folks. Now look at Brett Bodine in the 26. Remember that he is in the 6th position. Terry Labonte, number 94, right there in 7th spot. Mark Martin is in 8th and closing. And we've watched Martin march from 24th, 25th position all the way up into this top 10, getting ready to challenge those leaders. Back with those leaders now. Here is Schrader in front. Kulwicki still in 2nd. Ricky Rudd maintaining 3rd. And Davey Allison just a little further back and forth. They've completed 54 laps. 1 caution thus far. Average speed on the 50-lap rundown has jumped again up to 139.6 miles an hour. Remember, they had that slow period after the Strickland incident as they look for a new record here today to break the record of Richard Petty back in 1975 for the 600.
I'll tell you, Schrader's really been working on this thing here. I thought Kulwicki was going to reel him in, but Kenny Schrader's a pretty good racer. I'm not so sure that once he saw Kulwicki coming, he just started getting out the whip and working on the car a little harder, trying to drive on away from him. But Kulwicki's not going to give up.
You know, more drivers, and this goes back to the old days, that have won the 600 by 2 laps and have won it by 1. There's 4 of them that did that by 2 laps. That goes way back to that very first race they ran here. Neil, you had some pretty close encounters when you won it in 83 and 84.
Yeah, one time I won it by a car length, and the next time I won it by about 4 car lengths. I would love to have a couple of laps to enjoy it.
Here's Elliott, car number 11, coming off the pace, down to 55 miles an hour, the time on pit road today, as he brings the Junior Johnson car in. Something to miss here.
Yeah, when you're losing that much time on the racetrack, you need to fix it. Let's go down to Randy Pemberton and see what's going on.
Well, Bill Elliott just came over the radio and said the car was just getting a little squirrely on him, so Tim Brewer, the crew chief, opted to bring him in early. Let's take a look at the tires. So Tim Brewer now taking off the left side tires and, of course, working on the left rear. That's Mike Hill. Gas man on the car is Henry Benfield. They're just going to change tires. Nice, easy pit stop. They're going to take a look at these tires and see if there is a problem with them. Coming in on lap 60 will be Ken Schrader and Ricky Rudd, the sister cars.
Randy, it looked like also while they were putting those tires on, they put a few rounds of bite in that left rear on that car, so he definitely needed a chassis change.
That pit stop took place at lap 56, if you're keeping track. 56 was the time that Elliott brought that car in. Ted Musgrave brings the Jasper Engines, number 55, onto pit road at this time. Meanwhile, up in front, there is the Musgrave car. Former great runner out of the Midwest, moved up to Winston Cup, and he's had some very good runs of recent.
They switched, you know, they had a Nosemobile here 2 weeks ago. Now they're back down here with a Ford. They're trying to Ford with their team, and it's running a little bit better for them.
The Napa standings giving you the entire rundown after 50 of 400 laps have been completed. 4 tire change. Here's Bobby Hamilton coming in. Bobby Hamilton getting set to go again, and Ted Musgrave in his second 600 comes back on the track. 60 laps complete this time by on your leaders.
This is a little bit early for normal pit stops. The guys that are sitting in the catbird seat are the 6 car Mark Martin and Kyle Petty. They stopped on that caution on lap 21 and refuel, so they're going to be able to go further than he wants. Here comes the 22 cars coming down pit road also. Sterling Martin.
Here he is, the Maxwell House car coming in for service after they had the sister car in, number 11. And I think we're going to see Schrader and Rudd both pit at the same time. Both of the Hendrick Racing cars. Here comes Allison in. Earnhardt is coming in, and Brett Bodine all assembling on pit road under green at lap 60. This is taking place. This is happening at lap 60. We're 90 miles deep.
Boy, that stop early, I was questioning Kyle Petty in the 6 car to stop it early, but it's going to be good for him. Let's go down to Dick Bergman.
Pit stops, Steel Bonnet. These are scheduled pit stops. They wanted to come in early to make sure the fuel was all right. Earnhardt originally was going to take 2. He's changed his mind to take 4 because that's what Ricky Rudd is doing, and so is Davey Allison up pit road. Rudd is out of here already. Earnhardt still in the pits. It's a slow pit stop for these guys. Having trouble with the left rear, but indeed a slow pit stop for Earnhardt at 26.26.
This is where you get some separation in these races. Some of those crews are just so much better, and they're all working on pit stops now. Alan Kowicki had his team working all week, trying to improve their time on pit road. He felt that was his Achilles heel. The Penske people, they've been doing the same.
Yeah, and as we're talking about Alan Kowicki, here he comes. He just turned down pit road as we're watching Mark Martin and Kyle Petty. There's Kowicki coming in right now.
This is putting Mark Martin into the lead and Kyle Petty in the second as we watch Kowicki's pit stop. Here's Dick Bergman.
Alan Kowicki's up with the right side of the automobile. They're also going to do a 4 tire change. One of these guys comes in, they set the pace for everybody else. Everybody seems to do what the first car does. They got the right side of tires on Kowicki's car. He has now gone a bit further on the racetrack than most of the others, so he'll have at least a little bit of a fuel advantage if we go for a long green flag. Kowicki down and gone, a much better pit stop than Earnhardt at 21.72.
Also on pit road, Joe Ruttman has just come in. Morgan Shepherd has pitted his automobile. The front of the field looks like this. Martin, Kyle Petty, Dale Jarrett, Darrell Waltrip. 1, 2, 3, 4. Jimmy Hensley has taken the 66 up to 5th. This is the lead right here. Mark Martin from 25th into 1st. Looking forward to some lap traffic out there. How do you use those lap cars in this track?
Well, what you want to try to do is catch them in a place where it's easy. Oh, it's Mark Martin real loose right there. Just as soon as Kyle got it behind him. That's the first time Kyle had really reeled him in, and he got him loose when he got directly behind him. Let's see if it happens going down in this corner also.
Didn't touch him, just came loose.
No, just took the air off the back of the car.
That at lap 63. Harry Gant has just pitted to 33, and he's getting back into it another time.
These two guys here have a 20-lap cushion on them. They can go 20 more laps now, more than the other guys, because they made that early stop.
42 trying to close in one more time. Out the back of Mark Martin's car, there you see Kyle worrying him a little, fretting him inside and out.
And that's what you don't want to see. When your car got a little loose like Mark did just a while ago, you don't need to look back there and see nothing but the top of the guy's car, because he's up under you. And Kyle drop back right there. I'm not so sure if Kyle saw the looseness in that car. He said, let's the two of us, while we're ahead like this, let's keep these other guys down. He knows if he gets directly under the 6 car, he's going to get him real loose. He might give him just enough running room where both of them can run fast.
Ford and Pontiac running first and second. Kyle closes in another time in car number 42. Maybe going for it right here. Coming around to complete lap 66.
Mark sure gave him a lot of room right there. I'm not so sure he didn't know that he didn't need him back up under him there. Let Kyle go, but the two of them can run. But when you got a car that did what Mark's did a while ago, it really gets your attention.
Kyle Petty pulling away for just a moment. A couple of car lengths advantage. This battle seesaws. Next time by, they'll be at 67 laps. That'll be 100.5 miles, 100 miles in the book of the 600 to be run today.
I think if you took a vote in the garage area, the sentimental favorite for a win would be a Petty, but it'd be Richard. But a realistic win would be Kyle Petty, because he's been the fastest guy for 2 weeks.
There's your third place car, and that gave you an idea of the interval between those first two automobiles. And Joe Gibbs, car number 18, the Redskin Super Bowl guy, wanting to win a Super Bowl race, the 600 today.
When you're in winner's circle, you know, getting all the congratulations, and everybody thinks you're the greatest person in the world. Next day, you're nothing again.
Petty has appropriated first position. Mark Martin has come up to second spot. Dale Jarrett now finds himself in third, and Jimmy Spencer, driving that Travis Carter car, is in fourth spot. Behind the Pennsylvania driver, Dick Trickle is now up there in the Stavola brothers, number 8, running in 5th position. On the board, they are working the 73rd lap, and there you see the interval between number 42 and you saw the number 6 car running in second. The Pontiac up in first and getting ready to pit, we think, in about another lap.
I'll tell you what, not only weird thing, here he comes in. Looks like he's coming down low. Both him and Mark Martin will turn in right here. And it's a good thing for the rest of the field, because they had him a lap down by that long caution they had.
Let's go to Randy Pemberton as we await the leaders on pit road.
Okay, Kyle Petty leads Mark Martin in. Kyle comes over the radio and says, nothing unusual, let's just get 4 tires. On the other hand, Mark Martin said, let's kick the spoiler up just a little bit and take a little wedge out. So on the 6 car, Steve Neal goes to work on the right rear tire. Chris Hussey on the right front. Tony Martin, the jack man, got the car up in the air. Steve Neal around. As far as the 42 goes, a little slow on the left-hand side. Robin Pemberton works on the front left side tire. They clean the grill off. Kyle Petty is down and away. A little slower, a little trouble on the right rear with Steve Neal on the Mark Martin car, but he's down and away.
Dale Jarrett has taken over first. Spencer has come up to second spot. The 18 car, for the moment, has the advantage. 98 is in that second position.
There's Dale Jarrett on pit. We're in the Dale Jarrett's car. They're servicing the car, cleaning the windshield.
And cleaning the back window, too.
Yeah, they're running around to the left side.
Getting it all polished up here. You're looking down pit road from this vantage point.
Mike Walker sliding right in front of him for service.
Dusted everything off on that car before they brought out Joe Gibbs Interstate Batteries number 18 for another go here at 75 laps. Here is Michael Waltrip in the number 30 on pit road as well.
They're really paying attention to the front area of that car, cleaning that grill off, because it's hot today and they've got to get it where the radiator can stay cool enough, or they'll cook these motors today.
There's Dick Trickle, who's been running up in that 5th spot, getting back out here another time. And this pretty well takes us through the cars that running up in front in the race, making this green flag period of pit stops with the 42 and the 6. Here's 98. Here's Jimmy Spencer in the Molly Black Gold car, going around on rubber on that car, which has been right up in the hunt. Directly in front of them, I believe that's the, they have it as the 32 car, and that 32 was 31. What was the story on that car, the black and gold, orange car?
Gary Ballou.
Gary Ballou's car. They changed the number on that car from what we had on the starting grid. That's Gary Ballou back, who's had some success here in Grand National racing. hoping to get something going here in the 600.
He was actually showing in second place.
Here's Ken Schrader in the 25 as we get them sorted out another time.
It's really confusing. Again, whenever two people did what Kyle and Mark Martin did, they came in on that other one. They actually had the field a lap down. It didn't show it, but they had them a lap down. And once they pitted, then they got back on the right sync. But boy, if the caution would have came out, they'd been in good shape.
Well, they had 98 Spencer still in the lead, and he was on pit road. Now you're seeing the leader, and that's the Kowicki car. I mean, I got to think that Ricky Rudd did not get that far down. What do you think?
No, that's just reverse right now. They usually, we go through this deal when they make a big set of pit stops like this, the scoring kind of gets out of sync, but it's pretty evident the 5 cars leading 7 to 8.
And he didn't get himself in trouble on pit road, so call it 5 in first and the 7 in second. Hopefully scoring be with us here, and then we're not out of line, and he somewhere snuck off for a while and had a soda. If that is the case, then you can credit Davey Allison with third, the 28, and give Ken Schrader fourth. I believe that good stop by Kyle Petty will keep him right up there in the 5th position, and Bill Elliott would be in 6th. We'll see. For sure, there's the front 2. Green flag stop. That speed keeps climbing, Neil. On the latest report, 60 laps, they've gone up to 142.7.
Boy, Rudd's car has really been impressive. When the race started, he took off. It seems like on these new tires, he's really got a lot for him. This car, they got around him after several laps a while ago. We'll just have to see if they've got it where he can run longer runs.
Here they are down through turns 1 and 2 up on that 24-degree banking where all the difference is being made these days in getting around this racetrack. You barely crack the throttle as we saw from that Ford telemetry. Alan Kowicki, how fast are the corner speeds here?
Well, that's probably in the 160-mile-an-hour range. You don't slow down a whole lot here, but the track will get a little slippier today, and you do have to back off here in the corners compared to a place like Daytona or Talladega, and that's why I like this kind of track better. I like a track where you got to back off and drive the car a little more.
We probably don't need to tell these drivers that we're looking at telemetry. He's saying 160. We were seeing 166, 167, and on cool tires, they're probably running close to 170 miles an hour through these corners. The corner speed is, when I ran the cars the other day, that's where I saw the big gain since I've been driving them before. The corner speeds are up a great deal.
If you're just joining us, we've had one caution period, a total of 6 laps under the yellow when Hut Strickland's Ray Vesta's Chevy got itself nailed in the wall up here in turn 4. Other than that, it's been blue skies, green flag all the way.
Well, I was looking to see what the corner speed. See, it dropped way down, but the reason it dropped down, Rusty Wallace had a problem in front of him, and he had to roll out of the throttle. He dropped 140 miles an hour. He lost 20 miles an hour. That one little split second that he lifted to go around Rusty Wallace.
Here he is, tucked right in behind Joe Rutten. Just a little stab on the brake, second stab on the brake. Hardly touches him.
149, 148 down to 1 and 2. But keep in mind, he's working traffic on the outside of the racetrack. He's not in the preferred line, so you're not going to see the real big numbers you would if he had the inside line running where he wants to go.
Think fast. That's the story if you're a Winston Cup star.
Again, I've made mistakes on this racetrack, and I've made errors, and I've had newspaper guys call me the following day and say, hey, I looked at it in slow motion. You should have done this, you should have done that. I said, if I had that luxury, I'd have done something different myself. You learn to live off split-second decisions, and you either do the right thing or you look like the biggest dummy in town.
Dale Jarrett, the Interstate Batteries, number 18, giving us these great pictures as he chases Brett Bodine, the 7th place car in the back straightaway. View is really limited when you're up on that banking. You can see it there out of the number 6 Martin Carlo.
It looks like Bill Elliott,
the 18 car.
There was Bill Elliott coming in right behind him. He was running a lot lower line than he had earlier. Maybe they corrected some of that problem. Here's the leader. It looks like the 5 car, Ricky Rudd, is stretching it out on Kowicki a little bit.
Chevrolet in first, Ford in second. And if you're just joining us, Ford has won every race this year. Chevy trying to put a stopper in that bottle here in the 33rd running of the Coca-Cola 600.
Well, we've been listening to all the drivers say, hey, we're ready for them now. We think we can race them. And you never can tell if they're trying to psych themselves up or it's the truth. But it looks like they've got a little bit better equipment to work with right now, and they're able to run with the Fords better.
And the interval for the moment, about 8 car lengths, belongs to Ricky Rudd in first place over Alan Kowicki, and he's chopping that lead right back down again in lap 85.
Presents a NASCAR profile. Jack Roush is a master at putting together winning combinations. He does it with an eye for talented drivers, hard work, and a foundation built with strong engineering. Add factory ties with Ford backing, and the successful Roush formula is complete. Roush has been most successful in sports car racing, where he made his mark fielding several different teams. Most of his success came in IMSA GTO and SCCA Trans Am racing, where he accumulated an impressive 8 sports car championships during the middle 80s. In 1988, Roush took a big leap forward into Winston Cup stock car racing. Consistent with his past, Roush put a winner, Mark Martin, into the driver's seat. In 1990, Martin and Roush closed in on the Winston Cup title and ran a close second that year to Dale Earnhardt. This year, Roush reinforced his theory of fielding several different teams by adding Wally Dallenbach Jr. to his Winston Cup lineup. With Roush at the helm, teamed with the success of Martin and the potential of Dallenbach, Victory Circle is never out of reach.
From the Pennzoil aerial platform, a view of the 1.5 mile Charlotte Motor Speedway, where 91 laps have been completed, 136.5 miles. And out in front for the moment, Alan Kowicki is there in number 7, and Ricky Rudd is in the second spot as they dice up in front in this great battle.
Kowicki was able to get around Rudd just a few laps ago, but he's not been able to pull away very much. I say he's not pulling away much. He pulled out there, and Rudd was right behind him 2 laps ago. Rudd might be falling off the pace some.
Let's take a look at that pass that changed first place.
Here they are going down the back straightaway. Kowicki makes a move to the inside as they enter the corner there. Kowicki right down on the inside. Rudd giving him some room. Just a good clean pass going in turn 3. Since that time, he's pulled it out several car lengths.
93 laps now being completed. They're getting ready to lap Wally Dallenbach, who's running back in 33rd position. And we just heard about that feature about Roush Racing. First and second, 3 car lengths apart. They come down the main straightaway, and indeed, Wally Dallenbach about to go a lap down to the leaders. Gary Ballou back on pit road briefly and back on the track. And there you see Wally Dallenbach Jr. out of Basalt, Colorado, getting underneath Derek Cope and the Purolator, number 10, as they head into the back straightaway.
Watch Alan Kowicki and Ricky Rudd work on those 2 slower automobiles. Dallenbach in the 16 and Derek Cope in the 10. Time to bring you up to date on an ongoing battle all season long on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. The True Value Hard Charger Award. And True Value Hardware Stores puts up money at each Winston Cup race. Also at the end of the season, you score points as a driver by leading or running in the top 5. We're going to show you the season-to-date standings. Now, this year it's certainly been a Davey Allison, Bill Elliott season. That's borne out in our Hard Charger standings. Allison with a big lead of about 4,000 points over Elliott. Alan Kowicki, though, stands a good chance at adding to his total. He's 3rd right now. Kowicki may score a lot of points here today if he continues throughout the Coca-Cola 600 the way he's doing. Harry Gant, Dale Earnhardt rounding out the top 5. At the end of today's race, we'll let you know who wins the True Value Hard Charger Award.
Alan Kowicki looking very good right here, right now. 4 career Winston Cup victories. I like Alan Kowicki. He once said that when things are going bad, I've never been one to quit in my life. If I'd not stuck it out, I feel I'd have agonized forever. He's had some real adversity in Winston Cup racing, and he just keeps coming back. A lot of people favor him to win this race.
Then he was really criticized. He had some of the top teams offering him rides on the circuit. Junior Johnson and several of those guys offered him rides, but he said, I want to build my own race team, and he's really stuck with it. And he's got a winning team on the circuit.
There you see it. He also was the one that said, just because I've got an engineering degree up there in Wisconsin doesn't mean I know how to fix the washing machine or the engine. That's not my game.
But he's pretty good at assembling a team.
Oh, he's great at that, and he's wonderful on geometry. He just knows how to make these cars work around these racetracks. That little washing machine right now has about a 3-car length advantage. There's the car number 66. Let's go inside of Jimmy Hensley's car, having a pretty good afternoon. KLR, that's about, what, the 3rd driver that they've had on the season in car number 66. He's in 15th spot at the present time. Back with the leaders, putting a lap on Dave Marcus. What a story Marcus is. He's been here for so many races. Wish that he would have a very good day out here in this 600. Starting his 25th 600 today. Brought that Food Lion car right back up in there.
Kid, the black car right here is the car of Jimmy Spencer. He's not showing up there on the lead, but he came. I've been watching him off the screen there. He's been running these leaders down. I don't know why they're showing him off. He was up there leading the race a while ago, but they got off on that pit stop, and he's actually been running the leaders down, and he's got an opportunity here to get a lap back. He's been reeling them in. He's got a chance to get that lap back and be in contention before the thing's over.
There's a lot of rumors about that team that Travis Carter might be staying home from a couple of races after this. I hope that's not true. Travis Carter was fielded some great cars, but that Hal Needham car years ago that won the 500 for the first time for Harry Gant back in, what, 1980, 82? Yep. Anyway, that's the same Travis Carter that has this number 98 out here today, and trying to get that lap back, and looking good right now for Jimmy Spencer out of Berwick, Pennsylvania, the two-time modified champion. Back straightaway, still Kowicki out in front. Still second is Rudd, and third is Davey Allison. Now we've completed 100 laps, which brings us to 150 miles, and we're already over the record on the up. Caution coming out. All we had to say was record, and you get a yellow. How about that?
I don't see anything around the racetrack. It must be debris.
They're saying that our old friend from Quebec, Pierre Debris, is out here somewhere. 146.562 was on the 90-lap rundown. We were just about to get to 100, which would have cranked it well over Richard Petty's mark back in 75, and out comes the pace car. And there is the debris. You can see it lying there in the back straightaway coming out of turn number 2. So we'll take a commercial break and come back to more of the Coca-Cola 600 live on TBS from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Officially in the lead with Ricky Rudd's number 5 in the second spot, getting ready. Let's see if he's going to dive onto pit road this time by.
I want to talk about... Well, I'm down here in the Alan Kowicki pit. They had a great pit stop, the 17, and possibly because of this man that you see on the screen, that's Andy Papathanassiou. He's the jackman on this team. He's a former All-American, academic All-American from Stanford. He played on the Stanford football team, came down south, and here he is jacking for Alan Kowicki. Just a great athlete, all-around athlete.
Here's Kowicki in first place. Davey Allison being shown second, and Ricky Rudd is being shown in third. And now you see Richard Petty's car in there. You see Derek Cope, who's running well back today. And there's Bill Elliott's car.
They just went under the hood. We don't know what they're doing. It was real quick. Tim Brewer lifted the hood. They looked under there and shut it back down. And now they're looking in the trunk. They're trying to find out. They're probably having a miss or something, looking for a fuel problem, because they're looking under both ends. That sounds like Dale Jarrett we're listening to on the radio.
Let's see if we can get a word with the Dale Jarrett as he's talking about the temperature readings on car number 18, the Joe Gibbs car. Dale Jarrett, how is car number 18 running today?
Well, the car's running pretty good right now. Jimmy Maycar and the crew have done a good job of setting this thing up. It's the engine that Rick Wetzel and his guys built is just fantastic. So, you know, we're having a pretty good day. We're up here in the top 10, and that's where we want to be right now so we can ride. We just keep this Interstate Battery Chevrolet going.
Well, you're running in the 6th position now. What are your intentions? Do you want to go up and lead some of this thing, or do you want to wait on them?
We're just going to kind of, you know, take it easy here. Long time to go yet in this race. You know, a lot of things happened that last 100 miles. I just want to save the engine and the car, and I believe we've got something for them today, so if I can just be patient and wait for that last 100 miles, we'll be okay.
Good luck to you this afternoon. Dale Jarrett, 5th place finisher just a year ago. One lap and we're going to be racing. Dale's already had a second down at Bristol with this new racing team this year after they had a terrible time down there at Daytona, lost 2 cars. But Joe Gibbs keeps saying he's a winner in everything he does, and that's how Joe Gibbs judges people. Over here in the condos, looking down in the first turn, there's Felix Savetas watching his car. I imagine he's having a little chat with Kyle now and then, huh?
See him putting that body English. He says, Kyle, get on in that hole. Don't lay back. Go on, get on around there. Felix is coaching from the top, and that radio, I'm sure, will be running a little bit when they start this thing.
Well, that's one way to watch the race. Here we are, getting down for a restart. 106 laps complete when they hit the line. Kowicki jumps out in front. takes about a 3-car length advantage over Davey Allison. Going down into the first turn is Ford. First and second, Chevrolet in third, and Ricky Rudd. Kyle Petty's Pontiac is in fourth. Running in fifth is Harry Gant. Going sixth, Dale Jarrett. Seventh, Mark Martin. Eighth, Bodine. Ninth is Slater. 10th, Wallace. 11th, Earnhardt. 12, Darrell Waltrip, the 5-time winner, and Jeff Bodine is in 13th. Greg Sachs finds himself up to 14th spot. Back in the main straightaway, here's Ernie Irvin trying to get a lap back as they come down across the stripe.
Well, it's a shame the first of the race, Ernie had a lot of problems, but now his car, they got it corrected. He's trying to get one of those laps back. And while he's doing that, it's going to open the door for Davey Allison to get up under Quickie. That'll put Davey taking the lead away down the back straightaway.
Totally different mindset when you come down to a start. The tires, they've changed a little. Everything changes when you come back out, and that's what makes these Winston Cup drivers so good. They know, they have a sense of feel about these cars. Look at the number 42, Kyle Petty, in third spot as he clambers out from around some ladder cars and sorts himself out for a run at the leaders. Look at Davey Allison down at the bottom in the car number 28. Davey Allison looking very strong in this brand new car. An old bruised and battered body on Davey Allison from his win just a week ago this weekend. Took $300,000 in the Winston. Crashed on the finish line with Kyle Petty.
Here's the Elliott car where we saw a little bit of problem. Let's go down the pit with Randy Perrin and see if we can find out what was happening to Bill's car.
Well, Tim Brewer brought him in, put the hood up on the car and the trunk. It ended up being a vapor lock problem, so they took the fuel line off, let it breathe just a bit, stuck it back on. They're not sure if they have it cured yet or not. Bill hasn't said anything over the radio since he went back out.
Thank you, Randy. We were guessing it was a fuel problem when they're working on both ends like that. Maybe they got it corrected.
22nd position is what he's running in. 22nd. Complete rundown for you after 100 laps have been completed here today. Back up in front, number 28, Davey Allison, trying to become a back-to-back winner of this event. Doesn't happen very often that they win them back-to-back, but he's trying to do it right now out here.
What could be a scary thought for the rest of the teams is when Davey got in his car the other day, the first time he ran it over the racetrack, he says, you know, I believe this thing is better than 007. And 007, the worst finish he'd ever had, was second at this racetrack and won the rest of them. And he told me, he said, I think this is a better race car. If it is, these guys are going to have their work cut out for them even to stay on the lead lap with it.
Showing 110 now officially in the books. And the leader for the moment is one of the Alabama gang. Davey Allison is there. Can he stay there? We'll see. Up in fourth position, Alan Kowicki's number 7 has just had an incredible moment in this race. Kowicki, there it is. Yeah, he was the one that brought it out. How about doing a 360 in turn 4 in front of the field and surviving? Little damage on the left rear, a ding there, but wait till you see what happened to Alan Kowicki up here in turn 4. Bonnet, how about this?
Here he goes. He's already coming around. There's Dale Jarrett. We were just talking to Dale right behind him. Watch the car 7 go down, but it's going to start backing up the racetrack. He just barely gets by him here. Here comes Mark. Mark's going to be the guy that tags him, I believe. Yep, he just clipped him in the rear. There come Rusty Wallace and barely clipped him. He bent that left rear fender, but he's sitting in the middle of the track in 4th place, and nobody else hits him. I promise you he'll take that little dink in the fender.
Yeah, watch it from this angle and watch those cars scooting, scattering, slithering around him here. Look at Brett Bodine getting down.
Yeah, but watch this at the very end. Let's keep this thing running, Ken. Right at the end. Watch Ricky Rudd. Watch the shot right here. For the last minute, he barely avoids him or just kept nailing right in the rear.
Now watch coming into the top of your frame right now, folks.
Okay, we just see Ricky Rudd clear him. Okay, watch Richard Petty back there in the back. He's trying to get slowed down. He's looping it around. And he luckily doesn't get into anything either.
Remember, we heard earlier that he has a brake problem on number 43, and it looked like one of them didn't hitch up that time. But he avoids anyone else.
Now watch this car here come to the inside, tap the other in the rear. That could have been really, really bad. Just a few bent fenders. Every one of them would take that, I promise you.
Right behind Kowicki when that happened was number 18, Dale Jarrett. Let's see if we can get a word from him. Dale Jarrett, Ken Squire up here at the TBS booth. That was a close call, eh? What? Dale Jarrett?
Ken, I think he's making
Dale, can you tell us about that incident with Kowicki just now over in turn 4?
Ask people up there if anybody's had
at the race. Got tired.
Talking is
I don't know if the 95 cars got any down here.
What they're asking for, Ken, is they've already seen they're going to need a lot of tires today. I saw each team had 11 and 12 sets of tires mounted. They're already shopping around for somebody that fell out to get them some more tires.
Well, here is the Joe Gibbs car, number 18, coming around. The Interstate Batteries car. Dale Jarrett in 4th spot. Harry Gant has come through this thing. You see him right there in 3rd position. It'd be great to have Harry have a fine day. Meanwhile, Davey Allison stays up in front. Interesting shot as they come down here by the condominiums and turns 1 here, and there's another set of condos a little further over. Actually, suites over in turn 2. There'll be condos there in probably another year, the way Bruton Smith and Hubby Wheeler do things around here.
Most of the guys stayed out. We see Bill Elliott. He's not content with that race car. They're still working on it, or he wouldn't give up track positioning. So every time they have an opportunity, they're coming in and putting tires on that thing.
115 laps complete, and we should be back under green very soon. Shortly here. Track is clear. Safety crew is doing just a dust down up here in the 4th turn right now. There you see Tim Brewer on that left front tire. Getting the Junior Johnson number 11 rolling once again. Elliott racing from the pole, better than a $30,000 bonus in Unical money if Elliott can win today. Richard Petty has been in the pits again and back out. Let's go to the STP Pit Center. Here's Rick Benjamin.
Okay, we want to update our fans. We're in the 2nd quarter, I guess you'd say, of this contest. We've been talking about Joe Gibbs and his Dale Jarrett, his driver, and in the football motif. We're coming up on the halfway mark, so that means it's time for you to call our 900 number, 1-900-436-7000, and get an entry in today's Gillette Halfway Challenge. Gillette, of course, the makers of Right Guard, antiperspirant. They're inviting you to participate today. If you call now, you're entered. And if we call you back after the halfway point and you can name the driver leading at halfway, you'll win that brand new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Also, you have a chance at an instant prize if you have the right UPC code today. The driver leading at halfway here wins a $10,000 bonus, and it's always an exciting shootout as we move toward the halfway point of a Winston Cup event. So we'll keep you posted on the progress as we get toward halfway, but now's the time to call and be ready to be an entrant today in the Gillette Halfway Challenge.
Now, who did you say I should call for?
I'll just call that number and see if you can take a pick, but who are you going to pull for? Who are you going to put it down for leading the halfway?
Well, I had picked Elliott earlier. I thought Elliott was going to be the guy today. Here we are at lap 115. We're 172 miles in, so you have a little time to make that phone call. 300 miles, the halfway mark today. As you see, Bobby Allison, the 3-time winner of this race, his Ray Besta Chevy being driven by Hut Strickland back on pit road, as is the Whitcomb number 10 with Derek Cope at the keyboard. Stay tuned for more. The Coca-Cola 600 live on TBS. Going around the Molly Black Gold number 98, Jimmy Spencer. And Jimmy Spencer goes right back underneath him. Here comes Spencer out of 4.
Just saw Mike Walton and another car get together coming off 4 right in the middle of this big pack right here. There's Mark coming in through. Watch this. You run up on this track and see him hold his hand up. Somebody hit him in the rear. He's going around down in the corner. That's just that you saw it just as it happened. Mark threw his hand up. Several cars going in the wall down there.
Derek Cope getting hit. Strickland's in it again, and Richard Petty. You were riding at 180 miles an hour with a Valvoline car when he got hit. Now they're racing back to the line with Davey Allison in front. The race came back under green at lap 117. We were away about another 50 seconds there. We came up on lap 119. And we were riding with the 17th position car, Mark Martin, when he got in trouble coming down the main straightaway. Here's Strickland out of number 12. Richard Petty's car has collided with the front end of or the back end of number 12. The front end of Richard's car banged up, and there's Hut back to see if Richard is all right. King climbing out. Remember, he qualified 12th. Had trouble early with the brakes on this car. It slid up in the wall, and now Richard is coming out of car number 43.
You know, it looks like they're both of them okay. We saw Mark run up on that lap traffic real quick and throw his hand up. And just as we were talking about, somebody nailed him in the rear and then brought the rest of the stuff on right here.
So we're back under caution once again. This would be the 4th caution of the day. 4th caution thus far. We've had a total of 31 laps to date in this race of the 120 run. And they're checking on Richard in car number 43.
Kenny's out there walking around. He looks like he's okay. I tell you, I really felt like this was just like a couple of guys said this week, every now and then sometimes in racing something special happens, and I really felt like this would be it. I thought Richard would have a good week here, good run, but he's had a little bit of trouble.
Dale Earnhardt was saying the other night on our radio show, he said, hey, if I don't win this thing, I want to see the
Go
king
check.
take it. Here's the Davey Allison, who's been leading the event on pit road. Let's take a look at exactly what happened out here on Mark Martin as you rode with him down that main straightaway.
Here he was running over lap traffic real quick. He threw his hand up, saying, I'm running up on traffic, but Rusty Wallace couldn't get stopped quick enough. Rusty tapped him in the rear. Watch him go across the grass down here. The only problem, he's going to go across that grass and cross right back up traffic in the racetrack, and then when they start trying to avoid him, you're going to see cars up in the outside wall. Came back down. These other cars wrecked when they saw him almost coming back onto the track.
Derek Cope, Richard Petty's 43, and Hut Strickland. Now, from Mark Martin's vantage, one more time.
Now here's the key. Watch him. He sees he's running. Watch him throw his hand up right here. Steve throw his hand up and say, hey, I'm slowing down, but he didn't get it up there quick enough. He got tapped from the rear by Rusty, and now he's going. That light means the motor's cut off there. He's got the brakes locked up, killed the engine. He's going for a long ride through that grass. At that particular part, he's probably running 170.
Whoa, and back up on the track, and that was the scary moment. There's Ruttman just diving beneath him.
See him grab a gear with that right hand. He wants off of that racetrack. He stuck it back up gear and took off and kept going.
He got brushed. Left side of number 6, wrinkled. After this incident in turn 2, that at lap 120. Pit road's where it's happening, and there is Ruttman back in another time. Rick Mast just parked in front of him. The 49 car, it comes in for some service work here. Stan Smith, Alabama driver. And here is that Derek Cope car, number 10, that Buddy Parrott is now the crew chief on. They've taken a pretty good knock in the tail end of that machine.
They want to go down the pit with Dick Bergman. He's got something on the 6 car.
Well, Steve Beal was with us just a moment ago. Right now, he's going to talk to his driver, Mark Martin. Steve, how bad is the car?
Oh, it's just got the body beat up. But that's the car that won Martinsville, and it knows how to act when it's got 2 scars on it. Mark says it drives fine. We just keep getting caught up in other people's trouble. Got a long ways to go. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, they just mowed a little Humpy's grass for him, I guess.
122 laps mean there is a long way to go. 183 miles have been completed. Dale Earnhardt pulling up beside Mark to say, hey, what happened over there, fella? There's Jack Roush looking on, concerned about this car number 6. Car that set on the pole for this race 1 year ago.
Well, you know, on a big racetrack like this, the aerodynamics mean something, but it didn't seem, Steve Mill didn't seem to be too upset about it. They said they're ready to go. It's beat up, but he's ready to race.
So Mark Martin in the Valvoline Ford in his 9th 600, not having much fun at this moment. Let's get a Goodyear racing update in right now and go to Rick Benjamin.
Ken, a full couple of weeks of action here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Of course, today, the big payoff, the Coca-Cola 600. We were with you yesterday as well here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Champion Spark Plug 300 for the Busch Grand National Series. Let's go ahead and take a look at the green flag. The lead row was Jeff Gordon on the inside and Jack Sprague on the outside. Sprague in the 48 car on this warm and sunny day. They got a good jump and got off to a good start, but soon thereafter, Mark Martin took the command of the race in his Winn-Dixie Ford, the number 60. Mostly a Martin show during the race's first half. A major crash, though. Sprague, the outside pole sitter, lost it off turn 2. He collected Tracy Leslie, Chuck Bound in the 63, Joe Nemechek in the 87, a host of others. That was just before the midway point. None of those drivers were able to continue. Just before the halfway break, once we got back to green racing, Martin the leader, Gordon second. Martin's engine goes away. Jeff Gordon sliding down to the inside and leading to the mid-race break. And that was the end of Mark Martin's afternoon. At the midpoint, actually at the 102 lap mark, all the teams got to come onto pit road, make adjustments, make changes, put on tires and take on fuel, and generally get set for the final 98 lap portion of the event. The clock counting down to the green flag. When the green came back out in the second half, a dandy battle. Dick Trickle in the blue car, the number 2, moving by Jeff Gordon on the inside of the white car. Dale Earnhardt's black number 3 and Dale Jarrett making it a 4-car dogfight. But Dale Earnhardt didn't stay part of that dogfight very long. Engine troubles knocked him out. A little later, Kenny Wallace in the 36 and Todd Bodine in the 34 get together. Wallace clips the wall, spins across in front of traffic. Very dangerous moment, comes sliding to a stop in the infield. He is able to refire. It took him a long time, but Wallace got back in the race yesterday. Another problem a little later on. Here's Phil Parsons on the outside of the 29, a three-car sandwich. Gordon and Trickle get together. Everybody stays straight. And later on, Trickle again got into it, this time with Todd Bodine. Both cars slide the wall, hit the wall a ton, really. And Todd Bodine, as you can see there, and Trickle got into the fence. Trickle ended up in the infield. Later on, Jeff Gordon went all by himself into the lead. Gordon easing to victory yesterday. He won from the pole. He won $113,000. Besides the $53,000 he got for winning the race, he won a $60,000 bonus that Charlotte Motor Speedway posted for any Busch Grand National Series regular who could win yesterday. Gordon collected that money as well. Gordon, a big payday yesterday, $113,000 plus for winning the Champion Sparkplug 300.
20 years old and a great career in front of him for Jeff Gordon with that incredible finish yesterday in the Baby Ruth car number 1. Here's Richard Petty's number 43 on the hook and being brought in. We're being told they're going to try to get this thing fired and going in one lap. Safety personnel all back on pit road. Sad conclusion to Richard Petty's efforts here in the 600. Twice a winner, 75, 77, but so many great memories of Richard Petty's performances. 31st consecutive, not consecutive, but 31st 600 was this one for the Level Cross North Carolina campaign.
Can I tell you, I won one of those 600s here. One of them that I did win. One thing that really made it enjoyable is I had to race Richard right to the end. And I'm telling you, to finally win one of the things with him chasing me, I think it meant more than anything just to be involved with him.
You know, one of the races that has always meant the most to Richard was when he finished 4th in here. 1987, he came across the line, and Lake Speed was 3rd in front of Richard, and Morgan Shepherd was 2nd, and of course his own son Kyle came home victorious that time. Well, now that we're sorted out and getting ready to go again, 125 laps have been completed. Greg Sachs, number 41, will have the advantage as we come down the line. The Kellogg's car will be on the pole. Then it'll be Jimmy Hensley, number 66. That's that Phillips Trop Arctic car from Cale Yarborough's team in that second spot. And we're going to ride with the Phillips number 66, Jimmy Hensley, as the green comes out once again. Rusty Wallace is in 3rd. Ricky Rudd is in 4th. Kowicki is in 5th. And there goes number 4 trying to get a lap back in a hurry. Ernie Irvin scoots right down there. Up on the outside comes Jimmy Hensley. He's made 32 Winston Cup starts. Of course, he's a Grand National star of great fame. Here's Jimmy Hensley going for it, trying to lead a lap here in the 600. He's never done that. Never been around for the 600 before, but he's been around forever on the short tracks in the southeastern United States. Coming back to the line, and yellow is still being shown. Pace car is out. That's going to give Ernie Irvin that lap he needed back.
The big thing it's going to give Ken is going to give Elmo Langley a chance to race these guys. He pulled that front up down there. He's going to have to get in gear. They're catching him real quick right there.
Yeah, just if you could pan that thing, poor Elmo, who won the Legends race here. They're about to run right over Elmo right about now.
Elmo,
there they are. There's the pace car, and it got out there, and it almost had a handful. Remember when Dale Earnhardt used to rub Elmo? He'd be in the pace car, and Dale pull up and push him down the back straightaway.
Yeah, well, they finally passed the rule, no rubbing the race car, because it used to be just fun. You get up here and bump on Elmo, and you lean on him. Everybody's kind of messed with him in that pace car. Now the thing is, you stay off of the pace car.
127 laps are complete. The caution is out again, and for why, we'll tell you in a moment. We're checking on that. Bob Latford, our statistician, on the line to see what brought out this latest caution, as we have Jimmy Hensley with the advantage. Car number 66 going up in front here, coming back to the stripe. Great moment for him and for Cale Yarborough's team.
I don't know how many laps Ernie Irvin was down, but his car's been real fast all day long, and he got one up back then, and he's taking advantage. He's turning down pit road now. He got the lap back, plus he'll get him 4 fresh tires now, so he'll be in real good shape when this thing restarts again.
Let's go to the STP Pit Center.
Ken, we're thrilled to have the king of stock car racing, Richard Petty, with us. He's just back from climbing out of the 43. Looked like you were off to a great start there early on, Richard.
Well, we thought we was. Then we had some brake problem. I went turning in the corner and locked the rear wheel up and ran into the wall and got that all fixed and come back out, and the car worked good. It didn't knock anything, some sheet metal and stuff, but it didn't knock anything out of line. But then the brakes didn't have any brakes, and that's what happened. I got into a deal coming off before they're supposed to stop, and I couldn't stop and had to spin it, and did the same thing going in one. Somebody lit up the tires down there, and I tried to stop and ran in the back of the hut, and I think somebody hit me, so...
If we can turn around, we'll take a look and see what happened to you here a little earlier. Here's a replay of the event. It looks as though this is Mark Martin down through the grass.
I missed that.
This is when you got together with Hut Strickland.
Yeah, I think I was back. I was back a little bit further, and we got into the deal. He was in front of. Yeah, here we come.
Yeah.
I know we'd make the. There we go. See there, just knocked the far out of him. That he knocked far out of me.
Tough to work in turn one here without brakes, Simon.
Yeah, it really is. Really tough.
We're hearing that tires are going to be a problem. Did you notice the track getting real slick?
Well, the track was really, really slick, but you know, everybody's got to run under the same circumstances, so whoever can stick the best will be the best.
Any final thoughts? This is your last ride in the Coca-Cola 600. A special day for you?
Well, it was special to begin with because we got off to a good start. The car was really working good, and you know, same excuse everybody else have a problem, and I'm in here and they're out there.
Now your son is looking very strong here. Who do you think is the stoutest car at this point?
Well, I don't know. I've been busy keeping myself trying to keep out of trouble, but Kyle's real strong, and he'll be tough when it comes down to them.
We'll see how it goes. Thank you. Congratulations, Richard Petty, on a good qualifying effort today. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you. Gary Ballou out of Miami trying to make up a lap. He's underneath the 66, Jimmy Hensley, the great veteran Hensley in the Phillips Truck Oxley car, who has won 9 Grand National races in the modern era of that group, now leading here in the 600. Look at this, 3 wide. Oh, my heart. That's Rusty Wallace on the outside. Michael Waldrop was in the middle, and down on the bottom was Greg Saxon, the 41. They're on a crash up in front at lap 130.
I'll tell you what, that thing wouldn't work like that. When they went in there 3 abreast, somebody had to back out. Rusty was on the outside. He gave him a little bit of room, but that could have been bad.
Well, for the moment, Jimmy Hensley is showing everybody the tailpipe on number 66. Hensley having a great run. Let's go back inside the Trop Arctic car and just watch Jimmy Hensley. He glides this thing down. This is a fine driver. He's been runner-up, what, 3 times in the Grand National rank? Oh, we got a car in the wall. Up into Gary Ballou has struck the wall in turn 4. Spinning down the main straightaway. A lot of guys getting out in the grass to try and miss him as they skate down through here, trying to pick it up and keep going. Stacks them 3 wide coming out of 4, and Ballou ballooned into the outside wall and blew that car apart. Miami campaigner in car number 27 taking a lick. We'll take a look. Here's the 66 as your lead car. Gary Ballou getting out of the way down to the bottom, leading. It's the 66. They're clambering out of car number 27 after an incident up here in turn 4. As they were running high and wide, making some moves. I think he's trying to get a lap back when it all happened to him here. We're at lap 134 right now. And Gary Ballou walks away from his hopes of having a good finish here.
Now the Sachs car and Gary Ballou look like they got together right there. There goes Ballou in the outside wall. And then everybody's got to take evasive action. This group of cars stayed on the pavement, but I want you to look through the grass back here. It's not easy to go across this grassy area. They just started stacking up, nowhere else to go. I'm surprised they did this whole maneuver. We have 1 car that stopped. The rest of them made it through.
If there was a car that got nailed, it was the Brett Bodine, number 26. Look again at what happens here.
Yeah, it looked like the 41 car with Sachs and the 27 with Gary Ballou. Looked like they tangled up coming off the 4th turn. And then from there on, everybody had to just head across the grass. And this crossroads here is what's tough on these cars, bouncing over them.
Here's Bodine's car in as they do some patchwork on that car, and here's Randy.
Sandy Jones wielding the hammer down there. Now he's got the tire in his hands, going to put it back on. Some heavy left front damage, but it shouldn't be too bad back out there when he gets going. Aerodynamically, it's going to hurt him just a little. Brett's down and away.
They're chasing.
Brett Bodine coming back on the track. He was the one that took the damage other than the 27 car. And there you see the damage on the left front of the Quaker Stake, number 26. He's having a good run up to that point. That's going to mess up the aerodynamics a little. And there you see Ballou's car coming up on the hoist.
I'll tell you, these guys act like it doesn't bother when they bend these cars up, but we're seeing the numbers ourselves of 175, 180 miles an hour. These things are going faster than most small aircraft fly, and you've got to have slick bodies on them, not only for speed, but for stability. When you start bending them up, they just don't drive good. But they work on these bodies in a wind tunnel so the car drives well, and you beat them up, they don't drive good.
This is Rick Benjamin at the STP Pit Communications Center. One of the stories we're watching is the tire situation. We're in the second quarter of today's event, and already we understand that there's a question about tire supplies for many of the teams. Dick Bergman, what can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you that Goodyear brought 2,900 tires here, Rick. That's 500 more than they brought for this same race last year, but they are sold out of right sides. That doesn't mean there's no right side tires in the place, but here's where each of the drivers finds out whether they have friends or not, because some of these teams had as many as 10 and 11 sets of tires when the race started, and some of them are beginning to drop out. So we're about to watch and see some folks trade some tires for a future favor.
I tell you what, Dick, they sit around like a bunch of vultures. You'll see a wreck happen, and you'll see everybody head to that garage or down in that pit and say, man, let me have your tires. They don't wish anybody any bad luck, but when they see a guy have trouble, I promise you, this 27 car, because he's got a premium on his tires down there. He can sell every one of them he's got.
Price go up?
Yeah, if you got a pretty good negotiator, they go up. Felix Savadas is well known for paying premiums when you need them.
136 laps are down, 204 miles in the 600. More in a moment.
Goodyear, #1 in racing and makers of Goodyear Eagles, the most successful line of high-performance tires in the world. And by Valvoline, people who know use Valvoline. And by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
For most people in the world, the intense power of the F-16 is thousands of feet above. For you, it's a phone call away. The Air Force Reserve, a great way to serve.
And by the Gillette Company, maker of Right Guard antiperspirant and deodorant for maximum protection against wetness and odor. And the Sensor Shaving System, the revolutionary razor that adjusts to the contours of your face.
Well, it's a hot day here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The temperature's in the mid-80s, and the tempers are flaring, too. Gary Ballou walked into the pit area there of car number 41. That was Greg Sachs, and apparently took a swing at somebody over there. That's the word we're getting there. So we're waiting for word on NASCAR about that, and we'll try to get you an update on the altercation. But apparently there was some sparks flying after they flew out here on the racetrack in turn 4. Getting ready for a restart at lap 138. 138 complete. They'll be working 139 as they come to the stripe. And here you have Jimmy Hensley out in front. Cale Yarborough, his car owner, never won this race. Wouldn't that be something if Jimmy? What an upset that would be.
Guess who's fixing to get another lap back? There's the 4 car, Ernie Irvin, taking the lead again. I don't know how many laps he's down, but this will be 2 if he gets another caution. He's back in the lead. Here are Mark Martin's car going down the back straightaway. He said it didn't seem to hurt his car a while ago, but he doesn't seem to be up to speed like he was earlier.
Let's go with Jimmy Hensley. Fights it out with Rusty Wallace, and for the moment, Wallace has that advantage. As you see right there, Rusty's flanked the Penske car up in first place.
Yeah, there's Ernie Irvin. He's going to be battling for all he's worth to keep Rusty back there, because another caution flag is going to, if he keeps doing this, you're talking about a 600-mile race. He realistically has got a chance to work his way back in. If he's running big wreck at 3 and 4, cars going everywhere.
Major wreck. Waltrip getting into it. Darrell is in it. I think Michael is up in the wall. And we're going to have 4 or 5 cars KO'd out of this one. Havoc in the 600.
And the 4 car did get a lap back. There's Kenny Schrader, who's been running exceptional. That's not going to help that bad neck he's got.
There's Michael Waltrip's car. It was in the wall up on the outside. Darrell's number 17 has been torn up. Schrader's car messed up in this one. This at lap 140. I hope you packed your supper.
Yeah, this could be an all-day deal. There's Schrader, boy, I tell you, that thing is messed up, and he's got to be disheartened, because first the race, he was leading the thing, pulling away, and was working his way back to the front. Now they've got a lot of work.
Let's see how this one started up in turns 3 and 4.
Okay, here we go, right in the middle of the corner. Let's see if we can pick up what happens right here. There's Trickle. Trickle sideways because the 30's already sideways in front of him. Let's see if we can pick it up. I don't know if Mike Waltrip just lost it, and that was the start of it. When Waltrip got sideways, Trickle locked him up. Here he comes back down across the track. There comes Davey Allison. He cleared right through it without a problem. There's Gant. Several of the cars getting through. But right on back behind this area is where they really... There's Earnhardt, the Gibbs car coming through. Now there's where, boy, right there, that's Kenny Schrader ran in the back of somebody and really caved the front of his car in.
It looks like Trickle's car came out of that all right. It spun, came up toward the wall, but didn't touch it. the 17 car spun. Darrell Waldrop, it's in. Oh, yes, indeed. The 8 car did take a bruising on the right side. Dick Trickle now on pit road, and you can see it took some abuse.
The 1 car, Rick Mass, they're down there working on it. I saw him go down across the apron. There's Sterling Marlin's car in. Here's Trickle's car. You can see that's that hammer they got there is not one you tune them up with. That's one you beat them out with. And he's got major damage on the right side.
Colliding first with the number 30 already spinning, Michael Waldrop in the Pennzoil car. Stavola Brothers Snickers machine down, and they're trying to get it out here. They don't want to go down a lap. Get him back out there. They'll bring him back in for sure. There's Dave Nader, the 3rd, coming out and taking a look at the back end on Waldrop's car number 17 there.
With him working like that, he probably got tapped in the rear. It's no different than a chain reaction on an interstate to start piling back there. We saw Rusty's car. He's leading the race. The left side of his is beat up. There's not many cars out there that hadn't been scrubbing around a little bit. We're not even halfway in the 600-mile race yet.
Looks like Martinsville and North Wilkesboro the way it's going right now.
Well, the breed of racing we have now is close, tough racing.
142 laps now complete. 142 complete. And Rusty Wallace has the lead, and Alan Kowicki will find himself in 2nd with Jimmy Hensley in 3rd, and they get ready to put this one back under. Let's go down to Randy Pemberton.
Well, I'm down here with a very, very disappointed Michael Waldrop. Michael, what happened up there?
I don't know, Randy. Evidently, somebody lost some oil because I just went in the corner and the thing just turned around. Pretty as you please, no chance to catch it. I chased it a long way, and then I guess some other people hit the oil and started sliding up there with me and ran into me. But, you know, Pennzoil's a great sponsor, and I hate all the problems we're having for them, but I hope they'll just hang with us. We'll keep digging and hopefully get this bus turned around and headed in the right direction before much longer.
You okay?
I feel fine. Like I said, it went sideways coming in, and I chased it all the way over here and almost caught it, but I guess other peoples were victim of the same circumstance.
Let's go to Dick Berggren, who's further down pit road with another story we've touched on earlier.
I'm with Gary Ballou. What happened on the racetrack, Gary?
Greg got up here and got a little loose up in 3 and 4. You know, he was in the lead lap, and we were trying to get our lap back. And I waited and let him get straight because, I didn't want to run over him and knock him out and take the rest of the field out, and gave him plenty of time to recover, and he got it recovered and got back down at the bottom. And I was up at the top and had a nice clear line to go by him on the outside, and he just moved up like I wasn't even there and run over the left front fender and drove me straight in the wall.
You went into his pit afterwards. What'd you have to say?
Well, I'm just not real happy. All we're trying to do is get our lap back. We're not trying to race him or wreck him or cause anybody any other problem. But we're here to race also, and we just need a little bit of racetrack to race on. And I don't know, maybe he didn't know I was there, but hell, he had to know I was there. I just passed him, and he just passed me. So all he had to do was just stay down, and once he lost it, not come back up across the front of everybody. So it just wrecked us, ruined the race car. And we had a pretty good car going, and all we're trying to do is finish, and at that point, trying to get our lap back.
Day's getting hotter.
Well, apparently it was words that flew, and that was all. That's good news.
Well, it would have to be 70 when I won the race, because the day before I ran 4th at Indianapolis and then came back here and ran won the 600, and it's probably, not probably, it is the most memorable race.
We're at lap 145, and it's better than 145,000 people. Closer probably to 175, all enjoying a great day of Winston Cup racing in the 33rd annual Coca-Cola 600, which after 7 cautions has Rusty Wallace in front, Alan Kowicki in 2nd, Jimmy Hensley in 3rd. Let's go to Rick Benjamin at the STP Pit Center.
Ken, we're joined by Hut Strickland, the driver of the Ray Bestis Chevrolet. Hut, an early end to your day, and not the way you wanted to wrap up the 600.
Well, it certainly wasn't, Rick. We had high hopes here today, and it just wasn't our day, I guess. We started out on the wrong foot there, was getting involved with that first deal. And then, we got caught up in that second deal when Mark spun down there, but we'll be back.
You've had some good runs this year. Do you feel your team is turning the corner now?
I really do. Jimmy Finnig, the crew chief, has been making some super good calls on setting the cars up, and Keith Allman doing the engines has been doing a super job there, dealing with a new Chevy head. Sure. So I really feel good about our chances this year. I think they're going to turn around.
Now, we've seen an awful lot of spins here just in the first 100 laps or so. What are track conditions like?
Well, I got to say, right now, the racetrack is probably looser than it has been the whole week, and probably looser than it's ever been since I've been racing here. I'll tell you, it's in pretty bad shape right now.
Hut Strickland, let's not forget, Neil, that he came in 2nd in the Winston Open the other night. That team is really coming together.
Yeah, Bobby said they really got some development work going with their motor stuff, and it's really showing up on the racetrack. And, you know, an interesting thing that he said there, it's looser than it's ever been. But these guys have been working on these cars under cool conditions, working a lot of night practice, and it'll lull you to sleep. This has always been a hard racetrack to get a hold of. And I think what they're doing, they're feeling the normal old racetrack. We kind of got spoiled at night racing.
147 laps complete when they come down to the line this time to turn them loose, get them running once again in the 33rd 600. Going inside the third place car, Jimmy Hensley, as he crosses the line, puts a lap on Lake Speed, going down into turn number 1. We've completed 220.5 miles. There you see the sort out. Rusty Wallace, who's been critical of some of these drivers that he has called, bottle rockets. He says they light up, take off, and blow up, and that's it. Of course, he was just involved in this himself, but he just came up on a field that was slowing down, and he had no place to go but into the back end of Mark Martin.
Here's a guy that's got to be tickled to death being second right now. Alan Kowicki spun by himself in front of that big pack of traffic and just got one little dent on the fender, and now here he is right here, right in the lead of the race again.
Harbinger of the thing. Got a problem down in turn number 2. Jimmy Spencer sideways. Everybody got on the brakes and missed him.
I tell you, I'm not so sure they've been working on brakes more than they have motors lately. We see we see cars spinning, nobody's hitting anymore.
Here they are coming back to the stripe to finish lap 149. And there is no caution.
They put it right at the last minute, Ken. They just barely caught the leaders with the caution.
As they were coming to the stripe, they just stuck it out there, and they're wanting to check that second turn area, but they got them right underneath. And in fact, the leaders are still running wide open down the back straightaway. They haven't caught that yellow yet. I'm sure they've got them on the radio, but the 2 car and the 7, they went through that first and second turn wide open. Now they backed out of it.
It's almost questionable, do they get the flag on the leaders? And I think that's the reason they raced like they did. The flag went down just as they went on the line.
We're going to see the 66 car, Hensley staying in 3rd, Ricky Rudd in 4th, Morgan Shepherd 5th, Davey Allison 6th. Harry Gant is running a very good 7th right now. 8th out here is Terry Labonte, 9th is Kyle, and 10th is Earnhardt.
There was the 98 car Spencer. He went in, looked like he got a little loose. He leaned up against the 21 car, Morgan Shepherd. And right here, boy, all day long, they've been lucky. When they get in the track, we've had cars going passing them at full speed. There's Ernie Irvin down the apron trying to avoid some of it, but lucky not to get hit when you're sitting in the middle of that racetrack.
So here's Berwick, Pennsylvania's Jimmy Spencer back underway, riding with Joe Ruttman here in the car number 20, which is well back on the field. He's running in 24th position at the present time, which isn't that bad. Joe Ruttman called him at the last moment. Upland, California native, having a pretty good run in that Orkin car at the present time. 150 now complete. Up in front, getting ready for green to come out again. It will be Rusty Wallace there with Alan Kowicki in that second spot. Elmo Langley won the Legends race here at Charlotte, driving that pace car just a year back on that little quarter-mile track. Remember that show?
Yeah, I tell you, it was a great show. I tell you, and they were serious about it. You know, Cale and all those guys, they wanted to win the race, and I'm telling you, Elmo raced him. He got after him hard and won the race. I didn't think anyone would come in. The only people that came in were the one that was damaged. You see the right rear tire, no more riding on that tire. It got scrubbed up against somebody else. Morgan took a shot in the left side when Spencer lost control and hit him in the left. So the only cars that came in the end were that experienced trouble and just wanted to take a look at their cars.
So Morgan Shepherd back out another time in the Wood Brothers car. You won this race in, Neil.
Yeah, I tell you, when I drove that thing for him back then, it was a rocket ship. And if you could get her aimed straight, you could give them a run for the money. And I sure had a ball driving their car.
There you see Greg Sachs involved in that incident up here in turn 4 a few moments ago, and some damage in the back of his car. Here's the number 2 up in front, getting set to go. Lake Speed trying to get a lap back in the Purex, number 83, down on the bottom of the track.
I tell you, when that opportunity there to get that lap back, you run as hard as you ever have, and sometimes harder than you think you should. But it looks like Rusty got a big jump on him here. Lake Speed's not going to be able to get that lap up, but Kowicki's coming right after Rusty. Boy, is that some shot in looking down on that thing. You really can't see the banking right there, but look at the guys way up on the side. You see the sides of the race car there, 24 degrees, and back to straightaway really flattens out in a hurry. That's where they have a little bit of problem.
A 5-degree bank in that back stretch as they go down into turn 3. See the leader, the black car, number 2, that's Rusty Wallace up in front. As our Pennzoil platform gives you these shots.
They cut across that dog leg. You take the shortest route possible. See him clip the first corner, clip the second corner. You just kind of straighten that dog leg out and really sail off. Driver right down the middle. A lot of throttle get down in the corner.
Gives you some sense of the speedway as you watch it topside here. Rusty Wallace and Alan Kowicki, Pontiac and Ford, running first and second. Back down into that third turn another time.
A little bit different line. Kowicki running about a half a car length higher through the corner than Rusty, and both of them get through there real good.
Back to the stripe they come. Back in third spot is Jimmy Hensley, and fourth is Ricky Rudd. Fifth, Allison. Sixth, Gant. Seventh, Terry Labonte. Eighth, Kyle Petty. Ninth is Earnhardt. He's picked up a spot. Mark Martin sticks in there in 10th. A little rippled and wrinkled, but still looking good is the number 6 Valvoline car. There's that 2 on the point, and here comes the number 7. That's Rusty Wallace out in front.
Again, it might be a little slippery and slick, but they just turned that last lap at a little bit right at 170 miles an hour, so it might be slippery, but they're still getting around this place.
Rusty Wallace, what kind of strategy are you going to use out here today?
I'll tell you what, there's not much strategy in Winston Cup anymore. In the middle of the race, I want to be leading it. To start the race, I want to be leading. I want to be leading at the end. And you don't have to drive the heck out of a car to do that. You just got to have a good handling car that can get through the corner good, and you don't have to drive the heck out of it. If you don't have to drive it real hard and let the car do the handling, you're much easier in equipment.
That's one of the guys that's telling you the truth about this type of racing. A lot of guys will say, oh, I'm going to lay back. I'm going to take it easy. Usually, if they're not up here in contention, their car's not capable of getting there. You usually run whatever your race car will run. If it'll lead this race, you lead it, because you'll run just as hard back there in 10th or 12th position. There's no stroking in this division of racing anymore.
Kowicki is closing in on Wallace. Much question about that. Look at him down to about a car length. The Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. And it's 11th 600 for Rusty Wallace of St. Louis. The 1989 Winston Cup champion has the advantage, as you see the NAPA standings, on the entire field after 150 or 400 laps, all the way back through. There's Wallace in the number 2, still staying right at that same interval between himself and Kowicki.
They're lapping Spencer there, who had just had a problem a while ago. He's well off the pace. When you spin a car and get in trouble like he did, sometimes it damages the chassis. He's not able to run the speeds he did earlier.
There you see Ricky Rudd a little further back. In third spot, Davey Allison right with him in fourth. There's Rusty Wallace in the 2. Rusty says the best way to finish a race, coming off the 4th turn on the final lap with the tires on fire. We'll see if they're on fire here at the end of 400 this afternoon for car number 2.
The guy that wins this race might not have a choice. He's liable to have it on fire to be able to pull this thing out.
Again, Kowicki closes just a tad. The 1990 600 winner, Rusty Wallace, just in front of car number 7. And here's Kowicki ready to challenge.
You know, it's unique that Kowicki's car did what it did earlier. He lost it, spun it, chattered it around, hopping off the ground, and does not have it be hurt at all. It's he's got a little damage back behind the left rear wheel, which is, if you're going to get it hit, that's the trailing edge of the car. Anywhere up front, it really damages the speed of the car, but it didn't seem to hurt this car at all in the rear.
We've had 8 cautions thus far, which have really impaired a record opportunity today. But it's great racing. As you see right here, there's Rudd right there in third spot, closing on these 2 leaders. As Kowicki continues to bother and badger car number 2, the leader. Back there in fourth spot, number 28, Davey Allison. What a story if he comes through and wins this race back-to-back. Won it last year. He's looking very good here in a fresh car after totally dismantling the one that won the Winston for 2 years and won the 600 a year back. And won the Daytona 500. Here comes Kowicki to the inside, and Wallace steps off it. Wallace just stepping right off it.
Must have lost the motor coming off of turn 4. It just looks like the car just quit on him.
Rusty Wallace in big trouble. Alan Kowicki takes over the lead.
I see liquid flying out of the back of the car. I don't know if it's water or what. See that little spurt? You'll see it every now and then come out the back of the car. There's an overflow pipe off the radiator, comes out back on the right rear corner. He's either hot or he's just completely, killed the motor and it's spitting everything out of it. But I saw a little bit of overflow.
They're saying the ignition quit for a moment. They're saying on the radio, and he's got it back cranked again. He's back running again.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, that's one good thing about these cars. There's dual ignitions in them, a complete separate system, and he flipped her back over there, but doesn't seem to have a problem with it now.
Best 1992 finish was over at North Wilkesboro, and he came home in second. Rusty Wallace having a moment that would put your heart in your throat when the thing just shut down on him.
I'll tell you what, it's not something simple to do that. He had to reach over, disconnect one coil, hook another coil up, flip another switch, and flip over to the secondary. It's reachable by the driver, but it's not easy to do. And he changed all that, didn't lose but one straightaway on the racetrack.
So it's Alan Kowicki with the advantage. Rudd number 5 in second. Davey Allison is right there in third. And guess who's in fourth? Harry Gant, Mr. Consistency. Number 33 is picking his way through the field, getting ready to close up on these leaders. Here comes Allison to the bottom of the racetrack. Number 28, Allison Lowe, gets underneath Ricky Rudd to the start-finish line. Lap 164 is in the book. What a show they're putting on. Here's Davey Allison back into second place.
They said they named this car number 10 like a perfect 10 with Bo Derek, and to be perfect, it's got to win this race first. The car's shown a lot of potential since they've unloaded.
But keep your eye on this man. Remember when he won the 500? Harry Gant at number 33. What a moment. You know, Lou Vandal, who is the patron on this car, he usually is here for every one of Harry's races in Charlotte. And he has a car running in Indianapolis that he's somewhat interested in, too. Guess where he is today?
I've already knew. His daughter just had a baby.
Yeah, he's a grandfather. They say the mother is doing well, the grandmother is doing well, and the grandfather's a basket case.
But I tell you what, he's a basket case, but he's a racer. I've seen him up in Indy. I've seen him around this type of racing. He loves any type of racing they have.
Taylorsville, North Carolina's Harry Gant at number 33 squares the car off and brings the Skull Bandit down the main straightaway, that Food Lion car. And he picks his way past Waldrop to winning Darlington. Gant was asked if he felt any younger. He said, no, but I don't feel any older either. I felt the same for the last 20 years. Hear, hear, Harry.
One reason for that, he's strong as most guys that are 20 years younger. He stays in great, excellent physical shape. Race cars will never wear that down.
You can say the same about Alan Kowicki at number 7. He's such a slight guy, and he's little. You take a look at him, like Mark Martin. Mark Martin works out all the time. You know, you see him working out on with those wrestlers and everything, and he really has got a physique on him. And this guy, he reads books, engineers his way along, gets in this race car on Sunday, and he's as tough as anybody out there. Alan Kowicki of Greenfield, Wisconsin, leading Davey Allison. Fords are running first and second. Chevrolet is in third, and Harry Gant's Oldsmobile is in fourth. It's a dandy, folks. Wish you were here in Charlotte. Hope you're enjoying it on TBS this afternoon. Here comes Davey Allison ready to strike. Like a cobra out of the basket, here comes the black 28 down on the inside. Davey Allison moves up into first place. The Alabama gang is rolling once again. The Alabama gang has won this race on 7 occasions. Davey's dad, Bobby, won it in 71 and 81 and 84. Neil Bonnet alongside here, twice a winner. Donnie Allison in 1970. You saw Donnie a little earlier on that story. Davey's the defending champion. Hutch Strickland's never won. He's another member of the Alabama gang, and he's had trouble today, but Davey is carrying those Alabama colors proudly at this moment.
Yeah, I think it's the water in Alabama. We have something down
Oh,
there.
cut it out.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, that's something to do. You believe anything I tell you.
Oh, yeah, sure. Those fishing stories, water in Alabama. You and Earnhardt, the two of a kind. Here's Davey Allison with the advantage. Kowicki stays right there. Ricky Rudd is falling back just a bit in the Hendrick car. What a grand race we're having. Hope you're enjoying it as we come around to complete 170 laps, 255 miles. With the standings, Allison first, Kowicki second, Ricky Rudd third, Harry Gant fourth, Terry Labonte, Texas Terry, he's in fifth.
Ford. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Ektar Film from Kodak for advanced photographers. The genius is in the details. And by Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Light. Head for the mountains of Bush.
Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Coca-Cola 600, the 33rd renewal of this great American event underway here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You're watching Davey Allison wing the outside of turns 3 and 4 in his Haviland Star Thunderbird today. As we get closer to the halfway point, you still have some time to get involved in our Gillette Halfway Challenge. There you see the phone number, the 1-900-436-7000 number. 95 cents a call. You must be 18 or over to call. Call now before the halfway point. You'll be entered in our sweepstakes today. If we call you back in the second half of today's race and you can tell us who's leading at halfway, you'll win a brand new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Also, the driver who's winning at halfway, very important, $10,000 from Gillette is up for the halfway challenge today. And at this point, we saw Davey Allison certainly with an excellent shot at that halfway point. He's got a lot of money on the line today, does young Mr. Allison. Another young driver who's gotten a lot of attention here at Charlotte Motor Speedway the past couple of weeks, young gentleman from Indiana who's relocated to the North Carolina area recently. Jeff Gordon, congratulations on your great win here yesterday.
Thank you very much. I tell you, it was quite a day, and it's just unbelievable to come here to Charlotte Motor Speedway, sit on the pole, win the race against the veterans, and a lot of the Busch teams that are really running good this year.
Now, you've been at the center of a little bit of controversy lately. Did you make a statement yesterday by winning in a Ford, do you think?
Well, I sure think I did, and I think all of us did. It shows that our minds and our hearts are still in the Busch Grand National and Ford and Baby Ruth and with Bill Davis Racing, and it just shows that no matter what controversy has happened in the past or is going to happen from here on, we're still going to go out and try to win races, and I think you're just going to see us trying to win that championship this year, even though I'm going to be in a Chevrolet with Rick Hendrick next year.
Good luck the rest of the season. Jeff Gordon from Indiana, now here in North Carolina.
Thank you very much, Rick Benjamin. You saw Jimmy Hensley, who was running 9th when he pitted there. We're getting the story on what happened with that Cale Yarborough car, the Trop Arctic car, which was looking so good. Here you see Davey Allison at lap 178 in command. What a dismal start Davey had to this Memorial Day. He slept poorly last night, awoke with a stomach disorder, got to the track, learned the car's engine had to be replaced, which is a little like a director saying Brando has a problem, so we're going to use the other guy today.
I tell you what, though, when these guys have an engine problem and change, it doesn't make a bit of difference. They go from one good motor to another good motor. They don't put anything in there that's not capable of winning races, and when they have to make a change like that, it doesn't hamper them one bit.
Certainly isn't right now. Look at him, Davey Allison. Stomach disorder, no sleep, new motor, whatever. He's getting along very nicely. Now, there's the 66. That's Jimmy Hensley back on the track after he made this unscheduled stop that has dropped him back to 23rd position. When he came in, he was in 9th. And that still keeps him, by our count, let's see, does he stay in the lead lap on that one? No, it goes back a lap. Just one lap down. Jimmy Hensley, number 66.
I tell you that with that 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, it's virtually impossible, even with a good stop. You're just about going to lose a lap coming in and going out. But it'll turn right back around. If he can stay out longer and this thing goes green, he'll get that lap back when the other guy stops.
Take a look at these consecutive winners. Buddy Baker, who didn't qualify this year, gave it a game go. I miss Buddy out here, I'll tell you. 72 and 73 won this race. Of course, Darrell's won it 5 times and did it back-to-back. Did it again in 88 and 89. And you did it for 2 different teams. You won for Raymond in 83 and for the Wood Brothers in 82.
Won a Chevrolet one year and a Ford the following year.
Doesn't matter to you, just a hired gun, aren't you, Bob?
Yeah, just out trying to shoot folks down, but it ain't real easy to do. I tell you, it was fun with all the guys.
You getting ready to come back out and race again?
I don't know. I've been, I ran Earnhardt's car, Winston Cup car he built himself. I ran it a couple of weeks ago, and I ran Davy's car a little bit, and just playing around, trying to see if I can get the feel back. I still don't feel like I'm completely over the the injury where I could get back in a car and run at a competitive level, so I just got to work on it.
Here's Ricky Rudd. Running in 4th position, now pitting car number 5. This is happening at lap 182. 182 is when we're marking Ricky Rudd's pit stop. 273 miles. We're getting down toward halfway. Hey, you never told me who's going to lead at halfway. Mr. Evasive.
Well, it looks to me like Davey Allison. When he gets out front, it's hard for him to take it away. And, if he doesn't have to pit, he's going to be sitting there in good shape to get that 10,000. If anybody needs the money, Davey does. He just got a check this morning for $300 grand since he was hurt the other night. They couldn't present it to him. And they gave it to him before the race, $300 grand for the Winston. So he's clogging up the banks in Hueytown. He's putting it in, and we're taking it out.
You know which bank to go to?
I just follow Davey. When he puts it in, I borrow it.
Terry Labonte stays 5th. Dale Earnhardt is in 6th. Jeff Bodine in 7th. Ernie Irvin in 8th. We check them a little further back. Let's go to Dick Bergen for more on the story on 66.
Well, Jimmy Hensley's pit stop was a routine pit stop, Ken, but he's running a little bit out of sequence. A little bit earlier than he'd wanted to pit, but there's several teams
We've
on
got
pit
a bad
road right
crash.
now getting ready to go in because of the yellow flag.
We have a caution, and it's Dave Mader in Harry Millings, car number 9. You can see the front end of that one took a lick. It's also got a big tire mark on the left side. Dave Mader, the 3rd, brings out another caution. That would be the 9th caution of the day. And we're still less than halfway in this 600.
Having trouble seeing out of the car. There's so much smoke inside. He pulled the window net down trying to get his head out the window, partially where he can see.
Back with more of the story on Dave Mader in just a moment here from Charlotte in the 33rd running of the Coca-Cola 600. It came out at lap 185. They're through 186 now. Right front torn up. Here comes the field down pit road. All marching in here to take on fuel and tires. Randy Pembert.
Well, I'm down here awaiting Davey Allison's arrival. He pulls the Haviland Star 4 Thunderbird in. Joey Knuckles around the right front. On the right rear, Eric Horn. Routine's pit stop so far, giving Davey looks fairly calm in the car, trying to get a drink of water, having trouble getting that. But car owner Robert Yates does get that to him. Davey said crank around a wedge in the right rear because the car was just a little bit pushy. So Davey's down and away. Dick Berger.
Nice pit stop for Alan Kowicki at the other end of pit road. He took on 4 tires. There was a lot of worry at this end of pit road about this round because when Mader came through here, he oiled this place. You ought to see it. There's a stream of oil on pit road that's about a foot wide, but the crew chiefs all radioed to their drivers and everybody made it safely.
I tell you what, I might have to go make another phone call, Ken. It was looking pretty good there for Davey, but some of the guys just beat him out a little bit, and we're talking about that halfway challenge point. I might have to go down and re-vote because there's not very many laps left. I might have to spend another 95 cents and vote again.
Well, indeed, we're getting down to, what, 14 laps? We'll have ourselves a halfway in this 300, which has been wreck-strewn thus far. Dave Mader, the 3rd, the 4-time All-American Challenge Series champion, running in his first 600, having the latest problem that has brought out this caution period. And we'll be back with more from the 600 shortly. Are now complete in the Coca-Cola 600. Running order has Alan Kowicki in 1st. Harry Gant has come to 2nd. Davey Allison is 3rd. Kyle Petty in 4th. Terry Labonte is in 5th. Rusty Wallace 6th. Dale Earnhardt 7th. Ernie Irvin is 8th. Bodine 9th. Sterling Marlin 10th as we get set to go again. There you see the 9 car up on the hook. And here's the 17 car being rolled back behind the wall. Let's go to Randy Pembert.
Well, I'm walking alongside of Dave Mader. We don't want to bother him at the minute. I understand he took a pretty good hit up there. He's a little bit dizzy. They're just going to take him to the infield care center and check him out, but he's okay.
Dave Mader, car number 9. Dave Mader, the 3rd. Tough campaign. I'd like to see him run more.
Runs good on the short track stuff and is really doing good with these cars. It's a shame to see the 9 car torn up like that, but it just happens every now and then. Drivers just trying as hard as you can.
Like to see him, and probably will, up in Michigan, Harry Millings' home country, where that car has done well. Mader's a good runner, and last year up at Michigan in an ARCA race, he came from like 25th position to lead in about 10 or 12 laps. Put on an incredible show up there. All right, we're getting ready, I think, to go on about another lap here. Those turn loose.
You know what? Just like Darrell Walter, we see him 5-time winner, and there he was falling out. Everybody's happening at one time here.
Hey, we've talked about Jimmy Hensley and how well he's doing out here today and how good it makes so many Grand National competitors feel. Let's talk to the man who put the team together. Rick Benjamin.
We're pleased to welcome Cale Yarborough, the team owner for Jimmy Hensley of the Trop Arctic Ford, the 66. Cale, your car's running awfully well today.
Well, thank you, Rick. Yeah, it is. Jimmy's doing a fantastic job. We got a little out of sync on a pit stop there, and you know, a few more laps, everybody had to stop too, but right now we're a lap down, but Jimmy's capable of getting it back, I hope.
First time you've seen your car in the lead in a while, I imagine.
Well, yeah, it feels mighty good. You know, we've been searching around for the right man. I think Jimmy Hensley is the right man, and he's got this Phillips 66 Trop Arctic Ford right where it ought to be. We just got to make that lap back up.
Glad you're carrying one of our in-car cameras today, and Jimmy, I'm sure, will be working very hard. Was it a tough choice for you when you decided to pull a Busch Grand National driver up to the Winston Cup ranks?
Well, not really. I've been watching Jimmy a long time, and he's capable. He just never had the right opportunity, and we're going to try to give it to him.
Hope he does well. Thank you, Cale Yarborough.
Thank you very much.
great Cale Yarborough. And this is a race that always eluded him. So many people, so many greats didn't have this one go their way, like Fireball and Junior. Ned Jarrett didn't win it. Jack Smith didn't win it. Lee Petty, the Flock brothers never came home in the 600. Joe Weatherly.
But you tell me Cale doesn't look like he's in good shape.
Oh, he looks in great shape. Green flag is out. 191 to down. 9 to go to halfway. If those phones are jingling. Now you've got Kowicki up in front, and Davey Allison is well back in this one. Third spot as they get ready to sort it out for 10 grand. Looks like the last 10 laps of the Winston, huh?
$10,000 to get these guys' attention. I know there's a lot of money on the line, but anytime you wave a little bit of that green stuff in front of these guys, they will step up the pace a little bit.
Well, we're going to follow this race, but we certainly want to know about Darrell Waltrip. So as we watch this battle up in front, getting toward the halfway, let's go to Dick Berggren with Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell just got himself a little glass of lemonade from his wife, Stevie. What happened, Darrell?
We had a great car today. The race was going just like I wanted it to. Hung around the top 10 most of the time. Could outrun just about everybody if I needed to. So the car was fantastic, and that's the part we built, but something happened to the motor.
He's out. It's all over.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker. And particularly for Darrell Waltrip, who one time told us, he said what was, if he ever started taking wins for granted, and he said, no, each one is special because each season those wins are a little harder to come by. And certainly proving that here today for a lot of people. Now you just saw 42 Kyle Petty duck down and go up into third spot. We're showing 193 complete. 7 to go to halfway. Leaders coming around. Kowicki in front and Ricky Rudd closing. Then the third spot belongs as they come to the line. And I'll take that back. That 5 car, they're not showing Rudd in the lead lap. Why not?
I don't understand that. I thought Rudd was in the lead lap. They're not showing him on the board, but don't everybody panic. It's not would be the first time they messed up a little bit on the scoring on the monitor over there, but they're not showing Rudd on the lead lap. Here's Kyle Petty making it right behind Rudd here. We'll see him come into frame. There's Kyle going by. I've been wondering how strong Kyle's car was. He's been so good all week long, and now they put up the money, and Felix might be telling him, let's move on up and see if we can try to take some of it.
Here's the story. The 5 pitted before the yellow, so he is a lap down. He pitted just before the yellow, so Ricky Rudd is a lap down. It's 7 in front. Kowicki going for 10 grand and to lead at halfway.
5 laps to go to the $10,000.
And Kyle Petty has the hammer down. The 42 car trying to draw away from Harry Gant at number 33, and Harry's right there with him. Then Davey Allison maintaining fourth. Rusty Wallace back in fifth.
Look at Kyle around the bottom of this racetrack. You've not seen a car on old tires, hot track, be able to do that. I'm telling you, all week long, I've been watching while we were doing the broadcast. I keep looking back. And Kyle's back there, 7th or 8th, 7th or 8th. And now when he gets ready to go, it looks like he can step it up. There he is just dragging all the way down below the line and just really gaining on the leaders.
Ken Schrader is back, and he's laps down. Remember, he had that car crippled in an incident earlier today. Front end badly blunted on the Rick Hendrick number 25. Here it is up in front. The 5 car being shown a lap down to the leader, Kowicki. And that number 42, Sabetis' car is on a roll. He's closing down quickly.
I'm headed back to the boat again. I'll be right back. I keep changing my mind.
You just sit right here. This is going to be fun to watch. Here's Kyle right down the bottom. And there's the super modified out of St. Louis right there. Ken Schrader.
He's used to driving open wheel cars, and he certainly got him one, but I don't think he needs one in Charlotte.
Now, here comes Kyle Petty as they're racing for halfway. A couple of laps to it when they come around this time. It's Kowicki there, but here comes Kyle trying to pick his pocket.
And I believe that Kyle can pull up on him in 1 and 2 here. Kyle is going to probably be so strong through 3 and 4, he's going to have the opportunity to get that money. It might take the, 90 or 2 away, but 3 and 4 is where Kyle is so strong.
You sit right here.
I'm watching.
Back straight away. Kowicki says, it's mine.
Kyle says, I think I'll try something. Watch him on the bottom right here.
Pulls up.
He's got one more lap after this circuit. This right here is where he's going to have to try to make his move the next time around. I think the folks out there realize there's 10,000 up for grabs and Kyle's popping the wheel.
Kyle Petty eases down, closes in turn 1 into the back straightaway. You'd think this was the end of the race the way they're pouring it on.
Okay, now does Kowicki see that low move? Does Kowicki go low and make Kyle make a different move? If he leaves that bottom open, Kyle's going to try it, I believe.
Here comes Kyle right down to the bottom. He's on the line. Coming up, Kowicki on the outside. Kyle down low as they come out of 4. For the halfway leader in $10,000.
Not quite.
Nuh-uh. Kowicki. Halfway belongs to Alan Kowicki.
I was right again.
Well, that's why you're the expert. You're the analyst. You're supposed to be right. Never mind that you told us that Bill Elliott would do it. Never mind that this morning you said there was no way Darrell was leading Nashville. Never mind you told us on the broadcast today. You're the expert.
I think Kyle says, I went through all this trouble. I might as well go ahead and take the lead.
Kyle Petty takes it right on the bottom, and he has for the moment about a 3-foot lead, but Kowicki comes right back after him. Great racing.
All Kyle's got to do is be tied right through this area, because if they can get up at 3 and 4, if he can hold him off right here, 3 and 4, I think Kyle's got enough race car that he can get on around.
Watch this picture from on high. The first place. You get a little nervous on the outside up there, Neil?
No, that banking's enough. You lay it on that banking right there enough that the car feels pretty comfortable. Look what a different line they're running right there. There's Kowicki in the same position he's always been in. Kyle's zinging right around the bottom of the racetrack.
Kyle Petty, remember that accident back in May of '91? Driving a race car is like riding a bike. You never forget, but you sometimes question if you're as sharp as you were before the accident. You sure look sharp right now.
I've had people tell me when I started, here's a car smoking, hit the wall at the third, fourth turn. Glotzback.
Charlie Glotzback, who sat on the pole back in 1971 for this race in the days when he was known as Charging Charlie from Georgetown.
All on the track. Rudd's in the wall.
Ricky Rudd slithers right up into it. Kyle Petty takes a wild ride, gathers it back up, stays in there.
I was wondering when they went in there if there would be oil, because Glotzback just had an engine problem going in that corner. The leader slid up. Ricky Rudd went all the way to the wall and just barely got into it.
The 90 car was running in 29th position, but it got in trouble up there, threw down some oil, and at lap 203, we have our 10th caution of the day in the 33rd running of the Coca-Cola 600.
Well, there is Kyle Petty in the mellow yellow Pontiac, the number 42, currently your race leader, but even though he tried, he couldn't quite do it and win the halfway challenge by Gillette here today at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The leader at halfway instead was the driver of car number 7, Alan Kowicki. Kowicki takes home the $10,000 bonus in the Gillette halfway challenge. Now, if you entered, be sure and stay by your phone. If you're called back by the Gillette people, you can tell us that Alan Kowicki was the halfway leader today. You'll win that brand new Chevrolet Lumina Z34 in the Gillette halfway challenge.
Neil Bonnet will not win. We're back at lap 205. Just past the halfway point. Ricky Rudd had a scary moment. Brings the 5 car out. He kept it up on the wall, but you can hardly notice anything wrong with the right side of that thing.
I was trying to see.
He danced it right up there.
You know, I was trying to see how bad he got in the wall, but it looked like he just barely grazed it.
Neil, number 1, oil. Number 2, the marbles. All that rubber up on the outside. How do you control something like we just saw Ricky Rudd do in turn 3 and 5? I've seen you do it a couple of times here. I've seen Harry Gant do it a lot.
Well, you know, once you start slipping, you just give it up inch at a time. You just keep driving the car. You don't lock the brakes. You don't do anything drastic. You just keep giving it up, giving it up, giving it up, trying to get the car slowed down. You're giving away space to the wall, but hopefully you get it slowed down before you get there. And I tell you, he used up every inch of the racetrack.
Nicely done by Ricky Rudd for the Rick Hendrick Racing Stable. The great star from Chesapeake, Virginia, Rudd, still very much in this race. Today, Ricky Rudd trying to get his lap back, popped out in front, and then Jeff Bodine, who had started from the point, number 15, goes right back into the lead. Davey comes with him in the 28. Here comes, guess who? Kyle is up on the outside. Jeff Bodine, and here is Ricky Rudd again taking that lap back.
And there's Kyle moving right on up in the 2nd position, which really puts him in down into the lead right outside. He's got a nose out in front of Bodine.
Jeff Bodine, who won here last fall. You see that car shot for just a moment. The 15 at front end, he just had to correct just a millisecond, and that was all that Kyle Petty needed to move around on the outside. We're riding once again with Jimmy Hensley in the Phillips Trop Arctic 66 as he tries to make his way through this very tight field. Right up there making war.
Rusty Wallace moving on the outside of him, moving on up.
Hensley trying to get his lap back. Rudd has done it for the moment. Kyle drops to the inside. Kowicki pulls alongside in the 7. Boy, Kyle, look at the power and the tracking that car has off the turn.
I tell you, that's a wonder, Kyle. Like you said earlier, how you run wide open all day. It's like Kyle Petty had something left earlier, and he's shown the strength, and he might just drop back here and set in there with this group. I don't know if he's going to be content for second or not. Doesn't look like it, does it?
A refocused Kyle Petty gave up that singing career some time ago, sold the car dealership. He's got a real positive attitude. Look in his eye this year that says win. Hurt last year and had a long time to think about a lot of things. Here's Kyle Petty working to put Ricky Rudd one lap back another time. And now you see Davey Allison has moved his way through the snarl and is up into second spot.
Rudd's battling for all he's worth to get that lap back, but he's got a couple strong cars in front of him now. He needed a caution early after that restart, and he didn't get it.
Neil, congratulations are in order. New Mexico's done it again. Al Jr. Al Unser Jr. has just won 1992 Indianapolis 500. Al Unser Jr. gets his name on the trophy. A lot of history there.
Boy, there was a big battle with the manufacturers up there with Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, and it looks like Chevrolet won out in Indy. Buick and Ford are really working on that.
I wonder what Bobby had to say about that today. Bobby.
Rudd, so he can try to get up there and race with Davey for second position.
Wallace looking very good here today. They've been working putting this team back together. They spent a lot of time this week working on their pit stops. They thought they too were vulnerable on pit road. They spent a lot of time trying to improve, as did the man just in front of him, Alan Kowicki. Third and fourth, Kowicki in the 7, Wallace in the 2, third and fourth respectively, Jeff Bodine in the 15 back to 5th. And Terry Labonte hangs right in there. Stays in that 6, Mark Martin back in 7. Mark Martin in an altercation earlier has come back out, keeps up the fight. Looking further back on the field for you, 8th is Earnhardt, 9th is Elliott, 10th is Irvin, 11th is Jarrett, 12th is Marlin, 13th is Hillen, 14th would be Morgan Shepherd, and then going in 15th for the moment, they're showing Ted Musgrave. That means that Harry Gant is back in 16th. Gant in 16th. Trouble up in the corner with car number 20. Getting a piece of that car beat up badly.
We've got a fire right here on this car on the inside. Hope they can get her and get it put out.
Racing back to the line, Kyle Petty will be there. Safety crew already on their way to Joe Ruttman in the Orkin car.
Got a fire with the fuel cell back there.
He's clambering out. Safety crew is there. And there is Morgan Shepherd's car, the Wood Brothers car. 215 laps complete. Joe Ruttman clambering out, and I wonder if he realizes that he's got a hot box in the back of that car.
I don't know, but I'd be checking out because that's 22 gallons. They just pitted. Looks like he's having trouble unhooking his radio connections from the car. Not only that, they're having a little bit of trouble. Here we go.
Little dry chemical, and they've got it out.
Just before that happened, we was watching Kyle Petty, and he threw his hand up and started waving, and I wondered what was going on. He saw the caution lights come on as he's going down the back straightaway. There's Morgan's car sitting there.
How about that for the 11th caution of the day? Jeff Bodine coming onto pit road. Harry Gant coming in. Bobby Hamilton making a pit stop.
This is not going to do anything but aggravate that tire situation. They said they were a little short on right side tires, and if they stop 11 cautions, that means 44 tires. They put them on every caution. They usually put 4 tires on, so they're going to be scrambling for tires later. Let's go down to Dick Berggren in the pits.
Well, Neil, they're scrambling for tires right now. As a matter of fact, Alan Kowicki's down to only 5 sets of tires at this point. That's not enough. Let's talk to Robin Pemberton and see how you're doing with Kyle Petty. How you doing on tires?
We're doing pretty good. We got a number of friends up and down pit road. The King gave us some tires, and I think we got some from Stanley Smith. So we're doing pretty good on tires right now. We've been saving them up since the Winston and everything. So they're going to be at a premium if there's this many cautions carry on to the end of the race.
Well, it pays to have friends on pit road for sure.
This is going to keep 17 cars in the lead lap. 17. We are at the 11th caution. The record for the most caution periods in a race was 13, set twice, 88 and 80. Picking up Morgan Shepherd's car as we look like we're closing in on a record that will preclude any speed record here today at the 600.
Leaders of this event, our average speed, not a record at this point, a little under 123 miles an hour. We're in the 11th caution period of the event at this point, with 49 caution laps so far on the board, and 6 cars at this moment of the 42 starters are not in competition. So that's a look at the Goodyear mid-race report. Also, let's take a look at some other information. We have here are the cars to show you that are out of the event. Jimmy Means, of course, in the 52 car. Richard Petty in the 43. You see Gary Ballou, Darrell Waltrip, and Charlie Glotzbeck, Joe Ruttman, and other drivers who have fallen out. Those are the 6. At this point, the lap leaders have included Ricky Rudd and Kyle Petty. Rudd again, then Alan Kulwicki took over for a good period in the middle of the race. Kenny Schrader had the lead for about 30 laps there. Kulwicki back with it for 16. Davey Allison at this point, 107 to 127. Greg Sachs under caution grabbed the lead for a while. Jimmy Hensley showed very nicely in front. And then most recently, Jeff Bodine and Kyle Petty, who holds the advantage right now. As we showed you, Kyle Petty tried hard to win the Gillette Halfway Challenge, the $10,000 today, but he couldn't quite do it. Meantime, on the racetrack, the safety crew's working with the Morgan Shepherd automobile to bring him in on the hook.
Morgan Shepherd's number 21. The Wood brothers have won so many times at this track, having problems, and let's see what happened out there in this latest incident.
Here we are going to first turn, and we already see car sideways there. Morgan Shepherd was up against the car in front of him. It got tangled up getting down in the corner. There was Joe Ruttman. I don't know if he got sideways, and then Morgan drove into him. We picked it up a little late, but they went way around the racetrack, that little flash fire. Morgan's trying to get on around there and get going. Ruttman drops off the racetrack, but the 21 car of Morgan, they couldn't keep it running. And here it comes.
So a car or team for which Neil Bonnet drove to victory here, and of course David Pearson carried the colors so illustratively for so many years, now comes in on the hook. Bad day for the Wood brothers and car number 21 for Morgan Shepherd, who had won twice on the Saturday race back in the early days here at Charlotte, but it was not to happen today. Earlier in the week, we presented the U.S. Air Force Reserve Commander's Performance Award. Here's Lieutenant Colonel Mike Mickelson.
Thank you, Ken. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today. The Air Force Reserve Commander's Performance Award was begun to recognize outstanding individuals who've made significant contributions to their sport, their team, and their community. With me today is the head coach of the world champion Washington Redskins and the very determined owner of a NASCAR racing team, Joe Gibbs. Coach, the men and women of the Air Force Reserve know that it takes a lot of hard work and sacrifice to build a winning team. We salute you today for your success in football, for your determination to build a winning racing team, but perhaps most of all for your work with teenage boys in the Washington, D.C. area as chairman of Youth for Tomorrow. Congratulations, Coach Gibbs. From the Air Force Reserve, we wish you, the entire Interstate Battery team, a long and successful run in NASCAR racing.
I accept this on behalf of all the people out there that work with young people. I'm excited about being a part of your team and being a part of their team as we work to try and help our young people all across America. And I thank you very much for the award.
Joe Gibbs' team right now is running in 10th position here. The Car 18 that Joe Gibbs has put together. He was originally in North Carolina and had a big choice to make in his life, whether to go to football or motorsports, and the break came to do a little coaching, so that's where he went, and what a wonderful success he's had there, and what a wonderful story that he returns to a sport he really loves.
You know, that worked out good. He kind of filled in some time while he was getting a race team, and he coached football for a little while, and he won the Super Bowl. It was a good feel while he was waiting to go racing.
Here's Kyle Petty leading. Davey Allison in second, Kulwicki in third, Rusty Wallace fourth. Terry Labonte maintains that fifth. Mark Martin in sixth, Earnhardt in seventh, Elliott eighth, Urban ninth, Dale Jarrett 10th, Marlin 11th. All of these cars in the lead lap as we get ready to crank them up one more time. In fact, a total of 17 cars remain in the lead lap. Let's go to Dick Bergen.
Ken, 5 sets of tires appears to be the magic number. You need more than that. That's what Rusty Wallace has. He needs more. Kulwicki has only 5 sets. Earnhardt's guys say they have enough tires if everything goes all right. Ricky Rudd's in great shape. He scooped all the tires from the other team when Schrader went out of the thing. So there are a bunch of guys here looking for tires right now.
There have been a bunch of tires used, that's for sure, Dick Berger. And I polled the 28 team of Davey Allison. They've used 28 tires so far. Went down to the 3 team of Dale Earnhardt, likewise 28. I'm standing next to Todd Parrott, who told me since last Friday, prior to the Winston, he has mounted up 86 tires, a total bill of $21,000. Of course, going to Victory Lane, that might help that case a little bit.
Thank you very much, Randy. Morgan Shepherd's going to drop by the pit center in a moment. He wanted to have a moment with his team, and he promised to come over to talk with the folks. 1 lap, and we're going to be racing.
68 tires, Ken. I remember I won the race here the time I won it. We used 60 tires that day, and, you know, after the tire bill and everything else was involved, we almost lost money by winning the 600, and they used 68 today. It's going to cut into the profit.
Here we are with, what, 223 laps complete, 334 miles. A lot of miles still left. 11 cautions. 13 is the record. I feel badly for Joe Ruttman. You know, he's on again, off again, and they don't realize how much desire. Joe has said that people don't realize his desire to race has been greater in the last few years than ever, but he just can't be at the track all the time. He's got things to do, a family, sport, and it's tough going. But he was out there today giving it a good go in the Orkin car before this collision down here in turn number 1. Eliminated him and the Morgan Shepherd car. Again, getting set on this restart. Remind you one more time. Go ahead.
I told you it was a long race. These guys down here are getting candy and cookie. And look here, so here's a good lady on top of a motorhome with a sandwich, and I don't get anything up here. I'm fixing to go to the motorhome.
That's the kind of support we need. Here's Gant. A little further back in here, but we'll follow Harry Gant's son. He's going to start in 17th position. He could win this thing today. Back to the line, Kyle Petty very much can win this thing today. And Davey Allison, that's the only thing he knows to do in the last couple of years here at win this thing. Let's see what he's going to do right now. There's Kyle keeping Jimmy Hensley a lap down. Here comes Davey up on the outside out of turn number 2. Davey Allison just eases that 28 to the outside. Tries to shoot through there as they speed down that back straightaway and into turn 3. Kyle Petty is up in front. Oh, a tap. Sets Davey a little sideways, and here comes Hensley right back in there, and Ricky Rudd comes with him.
Hensley just barely got in the left rear of Davey Allison, slipped him up just a little bit. Looks like a couple of cars might get by.
Hensley trying to make up that lap, and look at Ricky Rudd come on. Rudd has said this 5 car doesn't need to use up all the racetrack. It'll stay in the bottom groove, and it did just then.
Cat and mouse with Kyle Petty and Davey Allison.
Oh, Jarrett in trouble. Marlin tags him. Spinning and sliding down come the 2.
No, don't go back up there.
Don't go back up. 71 getting around. Dave Marcus just clearing 18. Dale Jarrett, who was running in the 10th position. You saw it break loose. What a bad break for Dale Jarrett.
Sterling Marlin got the front end knocked out of his car.
Let's see. Here he is coming down pit road. They're on the radio to him right now as he tries to get this car in. Apparently going to send him right through and send him around.
The chance there is if they not go a lap down, he'll have time to get back in and work on the car a little bit.
Sterling Marlin takes it right back into the garage area. It's over today for one of the Junior Johnson cars. Sterling Marlin's number 22 had been running. Let's check that last position on him was 11th.
Boy, that thing has got some damage.
Yep. Oh, that's a tough push. So Joe Gibbs and his hopes and aspirations for having another good finish after that second at Bristol, Tennessee earlier, not going to be today. Leaders back on pit road. Kyle Petty is there. Davey Allison, the Texaco car coming in, the number 7 car pit, and let's go to Dick Berger.
This is going to eat up the tires for sure, Ken Squire. They're all going to take 4. It's the right sides they're having a problem with, not the lefts. The right sides are wearing a little bit faster than the lefts, and they're the ones that are in short supply. Good pit stop going for Kyle Petty right now. Randy Pemberton.
Well, I'm down here with the Davey Allison team. You know, this is the point of the race where the pit crews start to get a little worn down. They're in the pits for about the 11th time. Joey Knuckles down on the left front. Davey Allison is away.
That's exactly when these guys were talking earlier. They said if things go normal, we got enough tires. What they don't need is to run 10 laps, have a caution, run 10, caution. They just continuously have to put new tires on, so it's going to create big problems for the race is over.
Back with more from Charlotte in a moment.
You should have been paid by the following: Phillips 66 Trop Arctic Motor Oil, the high-quality motor oil for year-round engine protection. Long live your car with Phillips 66 Trop Arctic. And by First Brands Corporation, the maker of STP racing products. And by True Value.
Give your home beautiful protection with long-lasting True Test Weatherall house paint, exclusively from True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Coming down with 230 laps complete, 170 laps to go, 345 miles in the book. Ricky Rudd trying to get that lap back right now. He squeezes down to the inside, gets under the 66. Hensley, and for the moment has, and from the in-car, you get a look here as Wallace is trying to put Ricky Rudd a lap down. They're even going in the back straightaway.
Boy, got a great start. He came up through the gears on the outside, really got a run and start, came around Hensley, and trying to put Rudd that lap down.
Here's Wallace holding on to him, but no. It's Rudd breaking away, and for the moment, Ricky Rudd is back in that lead lap. All-important move for the number 5 car, running in 18th position. That'll move him up on the tail end of the lead lap. Now the lead car continues to be car number 2. Meanwhile, number 33, Harry Gant, keeps on coming just like September a year ago. Here he is getting around Jimmy Hensley, as he's done so many times in Grand National Racing. And from Hensley's view, there's Harry Gant peeling off, coming on them, banking and gaining ground, going to look for the leader, Rusty Wallace.
Boy, anytime Harry Gant's around at this time and he's this close to the front, I know people get tired here, but I mean, he just kind of sneaks in there, and before you know it, he's right there with a chance to win the race.
Right behind Gant in the 33 comes the 15. Bodine is maintaining that 3rd spot, and he's not far away. There you see him in the red car. And how about this? Showing Dick Trickle, that beaten and battered car number 8, Stavola Brothers car, holding on at 4th spot. There you see it come with Kyle Petty right inside of him. Kyle Petty trying to take 4th away.
Ken, on that last caution, and when Davey Allison pitted, he had a problem with something on the fuel area. Let's go down to Randy Pemberton, see if he can tell us what's happening.
Well, Neil Bonnet, Davey had to make an extra pit stop. The gas man, Norm Kotsamichu, he told Robert Yates, the car owner, he didn't think that he got the tank full. They brought him back down pit road, and yes, it was a check valve problem. The valve that constitutes the overflow was sticking, so they worked on the valve a little bit, dumped a little more gas in the car, and Davey went back out. They don't think it's going to be a problem.
Well, it cost him a little bit of track positioning, but one thing about it, there's not that many cars left up front, and it's going to give him a chance to get back up there. Here's Ernie Irvin battling for position right now, though.
On a tear, he's up to 8th. Remember, he's been a lap down, and here's the Valvoline car peeling down below the line. Something is amiss on Mark Martin's number 6. You saw the light come on, indicating that engine isn't cranking.
Let's go down to Rick, see if he can tell us what's going on in the pit center.
Neil, the word we have from the Valvoline pits is that Martin's car will only run at half throttle. Whether it's a throttle response problem, something in the linkage, we're not sure. They're going to the garage area. We see the red light on. It appears that Mark has shut the car off, and we'll get more word for you in a moment.
Hard moment for Mark Martin as he falls by the wayside, the man who sat on the pole a year ago for this race. Look at Gant closing in. Remember that number 5 has just made up a lap. He's on the tail end of the lead lap. Then comes Wallace in 1st, and Harry Gant's right there in 2nd.
We mentioned earlier Lou Bantle was sitting home watching on TV. He's probably up on the edge of his seat now because Gant's up to his old tricks. He's trying to take the lead.
Mr. Smoothie. Look at this battle for 4th place. That's Dick Trickle right back in it again, getting around Kyle Petty in the 42. And here's Alan Kowicki's number 7 another time.
It almost puts you to guessing. You know, all of a sudden, Kyle, he'll take off and he'll just breeze out to the lead. And then he looks like he's minding his own time, and then he'll take off again. It's I don't know if it's when he puts on different tires, whatever. One time he'll just literally be flying, and then the other time he seems to be content just to stay right there with the leaders.
Dick Trickle getting away. Sliding up through. Kyle Petty making some very good moves that make him a third-place competitor. Bodine finds himself a fourth, Kowicki a fifth, and Trickle back to sixth, while Wallace continues to lead. He has to be a little concerned. That green and white monster is right after him.
It's time to get a lot concerned now because he's not only there, he's trying for the lead.
Back in 1981, Harry Gant came home second in this event. His best finish to date. That was back when Bobby Allison won the second of his 3 600s. It'd be marvelous to see Harry Gant pull this one out. Of course, it'd be pretty good to see whoever wins. You're always glad for them. Wallace is putting on as good a performance as he has this year. Look at this ride. And for the moment, take a look at that board. Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Pontiac, 1, 2, 3. The first Ford is back and forth. Jeff Bodine. Have we found parity again, Bonner?
There's always been parity here. It's just a matter of who's the parity guy of the week. It seems like it rotates from one to the other. Let's go to Rick Benjamin in pit center.
We're standing by with Morgan Shepherd, the driver of the Wood Brothers Citgo Ford. Morgan, sorry to see you out of it. What happened out there?
Well, you know, some of the lap cars was quite a problem today, and I was coming up on Joe Ruttman, and I was up beside of him going into turn one, and he just come down. I come up on him pretty fast. We just made a chassis adjustment, and I thought he seen me, but undoubtedly not.
How good was your car today?
Well, to start with, we was loose. Then we got too tight, and then we made a chassis adjustment then, and the car was just right. We was on the move then. We was headed back up towards the front, and unfortunately for our Thunderbird, it took us out.
Sorry to see you out of it. Thanks for stopping by, Morgan Shepherd, driver of the Wood Brothers Ford.
Thank you.
Yesterday in the Grand National race, he had a unique sponsor. He was sponsored by a church up in his home community, a little Baptist church. He put their name on the side of the car and said they were doing a little building there and needed a little sponsorship. Trying to help them out.
You know, you can't beat this job I got up here. I just mentioned a while ago that I saw a little bit of food, and I got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I can make it to the end now. Can these guys make it to the end is the question.
That's the issue. Look at 42, Kyle Petty. Slip right down through to the bottom and take Gant. That's second place for Kyle Petty one more time.
We were just talking about Kyle. You know, it seems like any time he wants to go, he can just jump up there and go. And he's just done it all day long. He'll be there, and then all of a sudden, when he turns up the wick, he just runs by these guys like they're tied to a tree. Here's Rusty Wallace leading the race, and let's see how hard it is for Kyle to get up there with him.
Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd, he'd give anything for caution right now. Down to the inside. Battle for the lead. Give it to Kyle Petty one more time. And put Pontiac in front of Pontiac. 1 and 2. Oldsmobile. Gant running third.
I just asked the question. Let's see how hard it would be. It's not hard to do when you got a car that'll wear that white line out and just drive under them like they're setting steel. And that car has done it all day long.
Ricky Rudd trying to maintain that lap. Stay up there with those leaders, those 18 cars in that lead lap. In his third year with Rick Hendrick Racing. Here comes Kyle trying to put him a lap down. And he just motors on up in there.
The only hope they got if they can move that white line a little higher on the racetrack. Just repaint the line to make Kyle run where the rest of them run. He's got his own little groove down there, and he's wearing them out with it.
Amazing performance, and here comes 15 in, and good night, Nurse. Over for this afternoon on car number 15. Jeff Bodine, who was back in 7th spot, right back behind the wall, goes the Bud Moore car. Here comes Harry Gant down on the bottom as they get under Rudd. Kowicki coming along as well. Caution didn't fall in time. Let him stay up there with that lap. Here's Davey Allison back in the picture another time. Running 5th. Dick Trickle is back there in 6th. And there's a lot of racing left. 245 laps have been completed in this bruiser. 367.5 miles are down. 155 laps remaining. A lot of good racing left today here in the Coca-Cola 600. With Dr. Dick Berggren, Randy Pemberton, Rick Benjamin, Neil Bonnet topside alongside. I'm Ken Squire, delighted to bring you the 33rd annual Coca-Cola 600. Well, right now, it's Kyle Petty trying to win it for the second time.
Well, Kyle Petty is running really well today, and let's give a lot of the credit to that to Robin Pemberton. He's the guy that built that automobile. By the way, he is also the brother of the fellow I'm working pit road with. This is the very first car the Sabatis team has built from the ground up. It's the very first one Pemberton has built from the ground up, and they've got a lot to be proud of. By the way, its name is Rubino, and that is Spanish for Robin.
The Robin flank. 42 is up in front, and for the moment, pulling away. He's just taken another couple of car lengths. What, about 1/10 of a second a lap? He's pulling away from the field. Look at Kyle Petty. Ride this 42 out of turn 2 and draw away from everyone else.
Every time they go to a big race like this, Felix Sabatis, who owns the team, puts up big bonuses and all kind of incentives to win races. The way they're running today, Felix might have to shell out some of it.
Having an auction. We're having an auction down on pit road.
We just saw the 15 car go behind the wall, and look at these little yellow and black uniforms here. Who do you think that is that we're trying to do a little negotiating on those tires? It's known as supply and demand. You can demand a lot right now.
And you see here's another team looking for some, and never been used.
Where's the man doing the auctioning? I guarantee there's bids going on right now. No, they're mine. No, they're mine. Give them to me. There's a fight for the tires now. You've got a good chance there of getting some candy bars or some oil for those tires. I don't know which they'll take.
That's right. Did he bring folding money, or can you give him a check?
I don't know, but I'd take cash down there when you need them this bad.
Battle for third. 33 Gant in third. Kowicki, number 7, fourth. And Davey Allison right behind him.
Davy's made up a lot of ground. These other guys have been battling in that position, but Davy got way back when he had that check valve problem on the fuel cell, and he's closed in on the leaders again.
For the moment, Kyle Petty, who hasn't won since Rockingham in '91. It's all his. Let's see if it stays that way. Laps complete. 145 to go in the 33rd running of the Coca-Cola 600. For the rest of the field, perhaps too soon. For Kyle Petty, he's hoping it just stays the way it is, or it could be over in the next lap. He's out in front looking for his second 600 win, and for the moment, he's drawing away from the field in the mellow yellow number 42. Let's get an update at the STP Pit Center. Here's Rick Benjamin.
Ken, this isn't the only auto race going on today around the world, amazing as that may seem. There's a small event that happens about 500 miles north of here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the CART IndyCar, actually the USAC Indy cars, and we're going to show you the top 5, and it's quite a story. Al Unser Jr. from Albuquerque, New Mexico wins his first Indy 500, finishing second. Young Canadian driver Scott Goodyear, who started 33rd today in a car qualified by another driver. Goodyear from 33rd to second. Al Unser Sr., who hadn't raced at Indy in 2 years, comes from 25th starting spot to finish third over Danny Sullivan and Bobby Rahal, a couple of former winners. Only 13 cars left running at the end of the Indy 500 today. Also, yesterday, here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, we talked to you earlier about the Champion Sparkplug 300 for the Busch Grand National cars. Before that race, there was a race for the Sportsman division of NASCAR, the Duron Paints 100. It was the third time the Sportsman cars had run here this week. Robbie Faggart and Tim Hepler were the early leaders under green. They had up some close racing for several laps, but a bad crash. Danny Sykes of Denver, North Carolina, gets the wall in turn 4, develops an oil fire, which blows itself out quickly. A few other cars make contact. Sykes out quickly. He's fine. Racing resumes about midway through. Peter Gibbons in the 92 car and Tim Bender in the 76 go to the front of the pack, and they race 1 and 2 for quite some time. Kirk Shelmerdine, Dale Earnhardt's Winston Cup crew chief in the black number 3, moves into battle. William Hobgood in the number 10 car, making it a 4-car chase. But then Bender moves under Gibbons with about 10 laps to go. They and Shelmerdine finish under a blanket. Peter Gibbons holds on from Canada to take 4th. Tim Bender is your winner of yesterday's Duron 100 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And that's our Goodyear Racing update.
You know, Rick and Neil, we understand that Lynn St. James, who shared this booth with us just a couple of years ago, finished 11th. There were only 13 cars running at the finish at Indy. What a great finish for her, just outside the top 10. That's the best a woman has done in Indianapolis, and congratulations to Lynn St. James. Meanwhile, here we have 28 cars still running, as we have completed 250 laps. 28 cars are on the track. 4 cars are still being worked on back in the garage area. Here's the number 3 car. Haven't seen Earnhardt for a bit. He's running in 8th position, still in the lead lap. Getting a look at the entire field here as we follow Dale for a moment. We have 10 cars officially out of the race. 4 are back in the garage area and may put in another appearance. And as you watch Earnhardt out here in 8th, remember that it's still Kyle Petty, who is the story of the hour as he dominates this race.
Kyle is dominating the race, but I tell you one thing that's happened right behind him is Davey Allison has passed car Kowicki's and the 4th place car. He's moved up now. He's gaining on the leaders. He's the one that's making the biggest strides on the racetrack. He's running down Rusty Wallace. Rusty is just directly in front of him, and he's closing that gap pretty quick. Rusty's about 5 car lengths in front of him, and the way Davey's been coming in 3 or 4 laps, he should be contending for that position in a second.
Well, he is closing down right now, moving in on Rusty Wallace in number 2. There's the 42 in first place. And there you see the interval over those cars. There's your second place car, number 2, Wallace. And just behind him comes that 4 to Davey Allison, closing in the Haviland Texaco star right back there another time.
Once he got around Kowicki and Rusty, and the 4th place car, he was able to come on around there. He was battling with Harry Gann and Kowicki for quite a while. He cleared them, and then he's beginning to gain on Rusty. Seems like he's closing that gap fairly quickly.
Here's Kowicki closing on Gann. Battle for 4th.
There's Ernie Irvin closing in on Kowicki. Ernie has battled all day. You know, he had real bad trouble right at the first of the race, lost 2 laps, and fought his way back, and now he's going in here. He's back passing Kowicki for 5th place, and he's made that pass stick, and he's going up to the front.
Morgan McClure, Kodak number 4, Chevrolet, picking up another spot, closing now on Gant. And take a look at this battle, 2nd place. Wallace in the black and gold Penske colors, right in front of him, Sterling Marlin's car running well down after getting beaten up earlier. Davey Allison in 3rd, inches along to turn 4. They say that turn 4 has taken a lot of abuse. We've seen a lot of wrecks up there, and that pavement may be taking a pounding. That's maybe tearing the seam up in that paving.
Well, it's extremely hot, Ken, and these radial tires. There we go. There's a section out. But let me tell you, that's paving directly below there. That's concrete. They had a concrete section they put in there years ago, and they put some asphalt over it. But the problem is right in the groove. Look at the cars run through it, and we're seeing sections of asphalt come out as they do that.
That'll chunk up the tires. That'll end the tire, Bill.
Yeah, the problem you get in there is somebody will get some flats out there if they're not careful. These tires operate at about 240 or 260 degrees, and they get to be a real tacky mixture. You're almost like bubble gum. When you run over something like that, it'll pick it up, and it might take several laps before it goes into the carcass.
So with 266 laps now complete, Kyle Petty stays in front. Rusty Wallace holds on to 2nd. Davey Allison creeping up in 3rd. Gant is 4th, and Irvin's coming back in 5th. Miles deep into the 33rd 600. Here's Kyle Petty well out in front, but the battle is a 4-way skirmish for 2nd place. There's 28, Davey Allison. Here comes Harry Gant, barreling up the inside for 2nd. Ernie Irvin comes with him. Rusty Wallace on the tail end of that group. It's Gant going into 2nd spot, and here comes the 4 car with him. Ernie Irvin still trying to find some room on the bottom. Meanwhile, Kyle Petty stays up in front. Look at Irvin down low.
He says, while I'm passing 1 or 2, I might as well get them all. He's going right on by, try to challenge again for 2nd place.
The Morgan McClure car from 2 laps down in the event, making up those laps, now getting back into it and fighting for 2nd place. And at the moment, Pontiac in 1st, Oldsmobile in 2nd, Chevrolet in 3rd. The first Ford is Davey Allison there in the 28 car. Battle for 2nd continues down by this packed grandstand. Every seat sold. And this is the reason why. Here's Irvin down below the line. A little hard to steer them down there. It doesn't bother him a bit. Here's Rusty Wallace in the number 2 car, back in 5th spot. Behind them is Kulwicki in 6th. Bernhardt is 7th. Dick Trickle is in 8th. There you see the Kulwicki car. And here's Earnhardt in the number 3 and 7. And all these cars are in the lead lap. But the man with the advantage, big advantage, Kyle Petty, going for number 2 in the 600.
While he's doing it, he's moved it out almost to 5 seconds. While they're doing this battling, he was picking up a lot of time. He's running a good, clean line, and everybody else is racing in position. He's stretching it out.
275 laps complete. Next time by, 412 miles are down, 125 laps to go. Dave Marcus being lapped by Kyle Petty as he circulates off turn 4.
There's Kyle across the start-finish line. There's Ernie Irvin coming off turn 4. About a half a straightaway lead. Irvin is really pulling away from the guys behind him. He might be able to reel him in.
Back on the track is Dale Jarrett. 18 car did come back out, but he's well down in the standings.
That's one of the good things about that double restart, Ken. If a guy has some problem in the race, he's even able to move up on that inside lane and challenge for position. If you've got a good car and you have a problem in this type of racing, you get on the inside and get an opportunity to get that lap back. Irvin's done that twice today, and now he's running second in his race. Let's go to Randy Pemberton with a report from the large area.
Well, you're looking at the Bud Moore Motorcraft Ford and Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford. They're loaded up, and of course the driver's disappointed. But at least the crews know that they're done for the day. They can go home. But you got to take a look at this over here. This is the Wood Brothers Ford. I counted 11 guys working on this automobile. They've changed the rear end, the drive shaft, upper and lower control arms on the front end. That's Leonard Wood working in the wheel well. The reason being is there's more than just $1 million up for grabs in the Coca-Cola 600. There's a $1.2 million Winston Cup Championship that's up for grabs, and we're only 12 races into a 29-race schedule.
Well, I tell you, that thing is used up. They're trying their best to get it back where to run. It doesn't have to go 170 again. If it'll just run 130, 40 miles an hour, they can finish the race and get those points.
Rusty Wallace is on pit road. Brett Bodine has already been there. Kyle Petty stays out in front. Battle is still enjoying for second position here as Wallace comes in for tires on the standard pit stop at lap 277 all the way around for 4. Dick Berggren is there.
This is a scheduled pit stop, Ken, and all up and down pit road people are saying they're getting ready to come in and pit. Earnhardt's planning to come in a couple of laps. It won't be long before they're all going to be in now.
Well, I'll tell you what you have to do. When you see somebody do that, they'll clock Rusty right now. The rest of the team will clock him and see how big of an increase, how much advantage 4 new tires are. If he's really killing them with lap times and picking up a lot of tenths each lap, they don't have any choice. They'll have to come in also.
Getting down to the 280 mark. 400 laps the distance here today. Gant is getting ready to pit number 33.
As he's coming in, there's the 71 car coming out.
There's your winner. Here's the one that headed right. Tracy Pateau. Greg Phillips is the winner from Oklahoma. Tracy Pateau, Oklahoma. Greg Phillips is the winner.
We could just give it to the town, but I bet you the other guy would be upset.
They could split it up. If nobody gets to drive it, like the little town I come from. Everybody get it once a week, one day.
Well, carried one to Hueytown, I'd never see it. I don't get to drive it very often.
Here's Gant in.
4 tires. It's almost a bad thing to say using 4 more tires because I'm sure they're getting scarce down there. But hopefully we got enough for everybody to have all they need to finish the race.
So what happens if you run out?
Then you go over and really bid on the rest of it. You'll get somebody that's running back in a further back position, and you'll get him to run your used tires, and you'll buy his new ones. Something's got to happen when you need them.
280 laps now down. 420 miles complete. Kyle Petty stays in front. The number 4 car, Ernie Irvin, on the track in second. Putting a lap on Greg Sachs and the Kellogg car in the back straightaway. You can begin to see the abuse being shown right there in Schrader's car and Michael Waltrip's number 30.
You can almost sense that they had a deal for this race. Kyle, if you promise not to run this car hard at the halfway mark, we'll let you run it hard at the last half. Because once it got to that halfway mark, this has been a different race car. Kyle's whole perspective on the race has changed. When it said halfway, he checked out on it.
Let's go to Rick Benjamin.
We're standing by in the Pit Communications Center with a couple of drivers who, unfortunately, aren't out there at the moment. Mark Martin in the Valvoline Thunderbird, Jeff Bodine in the Motorcraft Thunderbird. Jeff, you were running awfully strong today.
Yeah, we were probably one of our better efforts all year long, except for Daytona. So we're happy with that. We're not happy with blew up, but I'd rather blow up running good than not blow up and run bad.
We had heard your car was pushing a little bit right before that, but it was the motor that put you out.
Yeah, the engine blew up. We were a little tight, but we were going to make a little chassis adjustment. We made one earlier in the day and it helped. We needed one more, and just to free the car up just that little bit more. The car still ran awful good.
Now, Mark, you had an awfully tough afternoon. You went around once in front of traffic, and what finally knocked you out today?
I think we broke a valve. It probably didn't show today, but we were really running strong. I think that Kyle was probably the only car that maybe had a chance to beat us, but we were beat ourselves most of the day. We spent most of the day in the back with the wrecks and other problems, and then we worked our way back up to the top 5, and we were getting in position to go racing, and we broke a valve.
Is this the day the GM cars finally end your Ford winning streak, do you think?
Wait a minute. There's a car leaving the pit road, number 7. He's still out there. Davy's still out there. Who else? The 8 car. There's some Fords, Fords still out there, so let's not give up on them yet. I got to say hi to Kathy, Matt, and Barry back home. I'm coming home right now.
What do you think, Mark?
If Kyle doesn't break, I don't think anybody can outrun him. I ran with Kyle earlier today, and there was a time when he was better than we were, and we felt like we were probably better than most. So Kyle, if he could keep it going his way, he'd be in good shape, but you never know with this NASCAR racing. So next week, maybe we'll be in Victory Lane with a Valvoline car.
Hope to see you both there before the year's out. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
While we were having that discussion with a couple of the Giants, we saw Alan Kowicki come in. He was running in fifth when he pitted. And then you saw Dale Jarrett's number 18 come on pit road. He is just doing a remarkable job. After that hard hit he took earlier, he stays out there and runs in 15th position for car 18 a lap down. Kyle should be pitting, what, another lap or two?
There won't be many laps to go, and they might go ahead and pick it up earlier because Ernie Irvan is actually gaining on Kyle, so it might be an opportunity to come on in and get some
From the
tires.
Pennzoil aerial platform, this picture of Kyle Petty as he stays out in front and gets ready to pit probably in another lap or two here in the 600. Gant, for the moment, is being shown as the leader with 291 laps complete. Ernie Irvan is pitted, all the top runners, and down there on pit road. Let's take a look at Kyle Petty's pit stop, key pit stop here in this race. Gets her load right on the dime. Interesting color on those wheels.
That looks kind of like Petty, but I think those wheels belong to King, but the good part about they belong to Daddy. The King and Kyle are swapping wheels around there. He got a set from his dad right there to put in the car.
Don't you suppose, or do you suppose they were a gift?
It doesn't matter what they are. As long as you got them bolted on that car, he's leaving. They feel good brand new no matter who they belong to.
Now here's Ernie Irvan's pit stop. Briefly, he'd come up, appropriating one of those top spots into the pit.
Well, we're talking wheels. Those little wheels there are bright yellow. That's Mike Waltrip's tires and wheels going on the Kodak car.
Michael Waltrip is still out racing, too.
He's having a little bit of a problem. They got the hood up. He's on pit road right now. He's been running at a reduced rate. He doesn't need the new tires as bad as Ernie Irvan, so they gave him a set of wheels.
Now we're back with you live, and this is Michael Waltrip's number 30 that got bruised earlier. And they're looking beneath the car and checking it out. Gone all around on tires. This is being posted as a battle for second spot. We're showing Kyle Petty's 42 in the lead. 33, Harry Gant in second. And here comes Ernie Irvan tagging along on the outside.
Makes a good clean pass, just like Gant was stopping going in the corner.
In the last 100 miles, this car, number 4, Tony Glover's crew chief's car, has run as fast as anything on this track. You keep looking at Kyle Petty, he has his body magnetized, but it's this number 4 car that's made up the 2 laps, just keeps on wailing through traffic. Ernie Irvan.
Boy, he's in some traffic right now. Kyle Petty is the next car in front of him if he can get around these lap cars. He's having trouble doing that. Not giving him a whole lot of room, and Kyle's the next car in line. Lost some momentum coming through that traffic. Kyle got a little bit. That's Kyle. You see the next car in front of him is Kyle Petty.
Here's the battle for 5th spot. Rusty Wallace on the outside, Davey Allison bottom of the racetrack. Right behind them comes Kowicki, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Wallace, Allison, Kowicki, Nicholas in 8th. Terry Labonte, and that Hagen car stays right in 9th. The Sunoco car, then it's Bill Elliott in 10th, and Ted Musgrave and the Jasper Engineering machine right there in 11th.
Well, the first 200 laps of this race went all Alan Kulwicki's way. He was very happy with the way his race car ran. But then at around lap 175, 220, he began to sense something going wrong. He was afraid first it was a tire, then they got a round of pit stops, they changed the tire, that's not it. And he's talking about things going wrong with the car, potentially mechanically. He's not happy at all with the way that race car is running at this stage in the event.
Battle for third. Earnhardt to the bottom and under Gant. And Gant seems to be backing up at this point.
Yeah, Gannon ran strong while ago, but Kenny seems to run better when on long runs. All these guys just got them some fresh tires, and we'll have to see later, 20 laps from now, does Gannon surface again as a contender. His car seems to get better the longer they run.
Earnhardt to third, Gant falls to fourth. Let's take a look a little further back. This is sixth place. Kulwicki there in the 7. Here's the 2, and there's the 8 down on the inside, trying to stack them 3 wide.
And that's a tough place to do it right there, but they got them in there. They got 2 of them, and Rusty backed out just a little bit coming on forward. It's hard to get 3 cars through that area of the track.
Look at Dick Trickle, who just simply loves to race. 50 years of age. He says, I have a real advantage when I come racing. I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm just here to race. And is he racing now? Here's Kulwicki getting a draw on him for the moment by about a car length. Here comes the 8 car right back in it another time. The Stavola Brothers machine on the bottom of the racetrack, getting beneath him.
Cleared him that time and got in front. You know, every one of these cars in these shots have got some sides caved in, the bumper knocked off the back up. You'd think we were running a half-mile racetrack instead of a big super speedway. Every one of these cars is beat up. Kyle Petty leading the race has got the back end knocked off his car. There's not many of them left. It's in one piece.
Kyle Petty out in front here. We saw them running 3 wide a moment ago. Kyle, how tough is it to run 3 wide here?
There's just not enough room most places to run 3 wide. If you can run 3 wide, just to sneak under them real quick, but to do it for 100 or 200 yards, there's no way to do it. So this is a 2-groove racetrack, and that's about it.
And that's what we saw. Dick Sneaker Trickle right down to the bottom, peel right through and take a spot. Take a couple of them for that matter. Stay tuned. There's a lot more action and excitement coming as we're down to 300 lap mark in this 400 lap go at Charlotte. Our 304 of 400 laps complete. Kyle Petty, seeking his second 600 victory, is in the lead. He's built a fairly good advantage. The man in second place for the moment is car number 4, Ernie Urban. Urban has fallen back in the last several laps a bit in his bid to overtake Kyle Petty. And as he has fallen back, the Intimidator, the 5-time Winston Cup champion, number 3 Earnhardt is there and moving up. He has been closing about 2-3 car lengths a lap, and now he has taken the bit and he's running with it. Let's go to Randy Pemberton down in Earnhardt's pit.
Well, I'm down here with Kirk Shelmerdine, Dale Earnhardt's crew chief. Kirk, we haven't talked a whole lot about you guys today, but the car seems to be working and getting better.
Well, we've been in the back the whole day. We've been fooling around with the chassis, trying to get it to drive pretty well, and we've got it about as good as it's going to get right now. We're still a little bit off the leader on fresher tires. As things get worn a little bit, we seem to come back some, so hopefully it'll stay green.
Okay, Kirk Shelmerdine with a good chance today.
Richard Childress, car owner, has said Dale Earnhardt is the kind of guy who'd race to win if you're only giving him a couple of hot dogs. Told that to Mike Mulhern a couple of years back, and that certainly is Earnhardt.
He must be needing a couple of hot dogs because he's really getting after that thing now. And, you know, he's kind of been out of the picture all day. And Kirk just said that they've been working on the chassis and they've been in the back all day long. And when it's getting down the end, the chassis adjustments they've been making must be improving the car because he's coming to the front. And it's the first time we've seen him this far up.
There you see it. Closing again on number 4, and it looks like that 4 isn't handling as well, and Earnhardt is running him down. And here's the 33 car getting challenged from Davey Allison. That's the battle for 4th. Harry Gant is in 4th. Davey Allison, the 28 car, running in 5th and closing ground. This at lap 308.
Boy, we ran a long green run. You know, we made a green flag stop a while ago. We haven't had a caution in quite a while. And I tell you, this time of the day, it's wearing these cars down pretty tough to go in this long a distance. Plus, the drivers are bound to get tired. These long greens work on them.
Next time by, 91 laps to go. Here comes Davey to the inside. Davey Allison pressing. Davey Allison finds his way to fourth. Will the Ford win scheme stop here at Charlotte? They've won every race this year. That battle for fourth puts Davey back up in it. It's a Pontiac that's leading. Kyle Petty with the advantage. Ernie Irvin and Dale Earnhardt are second and third respectively. There's that leader, Kyle Petty. Birthday coming up on June the 2nd. He'll be 32. Now look at this. Here's Harry Gant, not giving ground. Whatever that car has, he'll get it.
There you went around him, and Gant, instead of just settling back and letting it go, he said, I'm going to have to challenge you back. And they're battling pretty tough. Gant's car has been working well on the bottom, and he moved right back under him again.
Neil, you were the kind of guy that would go in, you know, 4 miles an hour over your head to intimidate somebody behind you, and you were famous for it. Do you think that's the kind of game that's being played here?
Well, what you do is when a guy passes you like that, he's running down, he's working hard to pass it, he gets by you. Well, if it's at all possible, you need to sail that thing right back by him and just show him he's going to work for what he gets and not just roll over and play dead. And Gant has never been a guy to roll over and play dead. He's going to race and lose. They drop a checker flag.
It's a lesson from Dale Earnhardt, who said, you don't intimidate top racers. He said, if you do, then that is their shortcoming. And he's one that would always dive in. Well, anyway, we're 311. Lap 311 being complete, 312 being worked right now. And the 600 looks like it's going to be a whale of a finish. Working 317 laps, 475.5 miles complete. Kyle Petty leading as we get down to those last 100 miles. The second spot is Ernie Irvin in the number 4 car, with Earnhardt having closed right up on him, but not able to. There they are, and there is Earnhardt, pulled right on him, and then for some reason Ernie just drew away again. I thought that Earnhardt was going to dispatch him about 3 laps ago. Didn't work out that way. There's Ernie Irvin still fighting for everything he can get. And you see the number 3 car in third, and here's Davey Allison running in fourth, having gotten by the number 33 of Harry Gant. Car 49 has retired from the race. Interesting reason for retirement. Ready for this? Out of tires.
That's a shame to run out of tires. Have to park the car, but that's exactly what the statement says, out of tires.
That was Stan Smith out of Alabama in the Armatron Battery Chevrolet. Out of tires. Now there you see the number 8, Dick Trickle, back in here another time. Trickle is running in 6. Harry Gant running just in front of him in the 5th position. This is that time in the race when you're up toward 500 miles and you have another 100 miles to go. Look at Trickle down to the inside. Just keeps on trucking. Stavola Brothers car. Look at this battle.
You know, early on, Gant's car seemed to get better. This time it seems like it's giving up on him. The longer they run, he's losing ground to several cars.
Dick Trickle in 10th place in the Winston Cup standings. He joined this team after Daytona. Trickle said the biggest thing I've learned in the Winston Cup, how to get to the tracks. Been racing over 30 years, and here he is right back in this thing thick. 5th place, getting by Gant. But we started to mention, when you get down to here, 320 laps are on the board now. You've completed 480 miles, still have 120 miles to go. And the question, Neil, is always, what do drivers do? They have to go to the back. Here's what Morgan Shepherd had to say.
There have been a lot of people that's asked us that. And I haven't ever had but one driver that ever told me that he had to go to the bathroom. And that was Harry Gant. And he said he peed his pants. So I reckon that's the way it's done. But I've never known of anybody else having to do it. And boy, he must have stunk awful.
Morgan, shame. What a gossip. Actually, I don't see how you even need, with the amount of heat, 130, 140 degrees in that thing.
I tell you, the last time I weighed before I won the last World 600 that I won, and I lost 10 pounds during the course of the day, and it was all liquid. You just sweat it out. The uniform's all salty. The belts in the car are white with salt all over. You just do so much sweat, you just about dehydrate anyway.
11 pounds, that's a lot of weight, and you're in good shape, and you always were in good shape.
I could lose 11 again, probably.
Both of us could take 15 or 20. Here's Kyle Petty staying up in front with 322 complete. Let's go to Randy Pember.
Well, I'm down here at Davey Allison's pit with crew chief Larry McReynolds. We talked about the heat in those race cars. First of all, Davey's been injured. How's he feeling, Larry?
Well, he really hasn't explained it all. I believe he's back to his full potential. You know, the car, we just ain't never hit it right on with the car. We've been a little bit loose, been a little bit pushy. It's like we've never hit dead neutral. And when you got people like Kyle that's running as good as he's running, it kind of makes you miserable when you that much off.
Can you guys fix it to get up there?
We're going to keep working on it. We got one more stop to go here in about 20 laps, and we'll keep working on it.
That's the crew chief, Larry McReynolds. What a guy. This is the guy that the whole team with great reverence called Pigpen. And the reason they do it is he works so hard on that car. He's forever under that thing. They say that he is dirtier by 8 in the morning than a lot of guys all day. Robin Pemberton passed that note along, and it is a mark of reverence. There is the guy who is as hard to work. He started out in junkyard over in Alabama, worked on short track cars, but he wanted to get into Winston Cup. And he has been part of the magic, part of the glue in this Robert Yates team that has made them so successful.
No longer that he's been in this type of racing, he's really paid attention. He's got his own way that he does things. He didn't ask anybody. He's learned his own way. He's really producing.
You know, a lot of people walk up to you, I'm sure they do, and say, "How do I want to be in Winston Cup racing?" I don't think anybody understands the hours that a McReynolds puts in, and that's the truth. At 8 o'clock in the morning, he looks like it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Daytime after punch.
Yeah, and he doesn't look for that clock over there, the punch on the wall at 5:30 in the afternoon. When you work on these race cars like Larry McReynolds, you put in endless hours. Some days you go in on a Monday, you walk out of that shop on a Wednesday. So these guys are really dedicated.
You just saw the number 26. It had such a great start today. Brett Bodine in the Bernstein car in trouble. It has backed up considerably now and has fallen a couple of laps back. The number 26 car, which is being shown in 22nd position, but still motoring. Here's Kyle Petty, zeroing in, focusing, concentrating on his second 600 win. But there's a ways to go.
By Valvoline Motor Oil. People who know use Valvoline. And by Homelight Outdoor Power Equipment. Everything you need to get your lawn done right.
70 laps remain. Bill Elliott, number 11, while running in 11th, has just pitted and come back on the track. The story for the moment is Kyle Petty. They say that Felix Sabates has put up $1 million bonus for Kyle if he wins, comes back and wins in the 500 that first weekend in October here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And that isn't to be taken lightly. If Felix says it's $1 million, you can be sure too.
Kyle's driving a Rolls Royce and he won from Felix on another bet, so when Felix puts it up, it's for sure.
Now take a look at this battle. Here you see Rusty Wallace in that number 2 car, hanging right in here. The 66 car, Jimmy Hensley, we believe, is a lap down. That's the Cale Yarborough car in 12th spot. You're on board with Jimmy Hensley. I think he probably is having to go right there with the 94. Now Terry Labonte is a lap up. He is running in 8th.
Just like, Cale mentioned earlier, they got a sink on a pit stop. They've never been able to get that lap back, but they've been able to run with the lead cars.
Jimmy Hensley made a very, very good run all day. Now here's that pit stop that the Junior Johnson team just made a few moments ago for car number 11, Bill Elliott.
Going with 4 tires all the way around for him. They've been working all day. They just never have hit the nail on the head to get the car to do what Bill wants it to do.
There you see right in front of him that car 2 or 3 laps down. That's Brett Bodine. Had a good run going. That car got beat up early in the going.
There's Junior cooling the front of the car down. He's squirting it with a water hose. Junior Johnson trying to cool the water and oil openings down to get the car cooled off for Bill where he can run a little faster.
Kyle Petty eases down into turn number 1. And there's Felix Sabates looking on, watching his car. And I'm sure he's on the headset too, Kyle, up there doing a little spotting right now.
Yeah, but that little bit of motion you just saw is the same motion I'm seeing. He's closing a little bit. He can see the car's closing in on him, but every time they do, they pull away.
And he is Ernie Irvin, who has made up 2 laps in car number 4, and after falling back almost into the clutches of Dale Earnhardt, now has his talons out, and he's trying to grab the back of that car number 42, and he is gathering speed right here as Felix Sabates looks on up there in his condo in the first turn. He is watching the Morgan McClure number 4 closing ground. Let's go to Dick Bergman.
I'm with Tony Glover, the crew chief, Ken. Tony, what did you guys have wrong with the car in the beginning of the race? How did you fix it?
Well, it all started yesterday afternoon. We lost an engine yesterday afternoon, burned a piston. We couldn't figure out why it done it, and we started the race today, and the floats was stuck in the carburetor. The thing wouldn't run. And we got 2 laps down before we could fix it, and it's still not fixed. We're about 400 RPMs off of what we should be, and the thing's just handling good, and he's just driving his guts out. That's the only way we can stay caught up, and hopefully if this thing goes under green the rest of the race, we might be okay.
Well, they've got a lot of optimism down here, even though the car's still not running perfectly.
So we're down into that last 100-mile area. Here's Rusty Wallace in. 504 miles have been completed. The last 100. That rugged extra wrench on man and driver that is the Coca-Cola 600.
The last couple of laps, the first time all day long I've seen Kyle Petty cars try to get up under him. Kyle coming off, not this part here, but coming off 4 while ago, he kept getting looser and looser. Here's a shot, and here he is coming to 3 and 4. And this is where he's been so good all day long. But watch his car when he starts off this corner over here. Watch him start off here, and the car will break loose on him just a little bit. We picked it up just as he came off, coming up pretty smooth. That's his place on the racetrack. But as he came up off the corner, see the car start wiggling real bad. The back end's coming out, and he gets it back under him. He's either got a real bad worn set of tires, or he's picking up a little looseness in the car.
Let's take a look again. As car number 42 is about to put a lap on Bobby Hillen out of Midland, Texas. You'll call that Team Ireland Chevrolet of Bobby Hillen. And here comes Ernie Irvin squared off and trying to chase down the leader in the final moment. 3:38 of 400 complete.
That's the closest shot you've seen all afternoon since the halfway mark of anybody being behind Kyle Petty. He's got it down to about 5 car lengths. He's got some traffic.
Bobby Hillen just in front there. Here now there's an opening on the inside. Remember, Earnhardt is 3rd, Davey Allison 4th, Alan Kowicki 5th.
I'm just going to guess what might possibly happen again. With 339 laps, they can go 60 laps on fuel. Cal and those guys will probably try to make it to where they just have 60 to go. 1 or 2 more laps, they can make it the rest of the way.
Almost touching there. Kowicki is on pit road. Gant is on pit road. The battle is for the lead. They lap Bobby Hamilton.
Kyle must be out of tires to be able to run him down that quick. And when he got right behind him, it looked like he got Kyle a little bit loose.
Harry Gant on pit road. 4 tire change. Back up front with the leaders at lap 340.
Now they're racing. Did you see the 4 car of Ernie Irvin? He knows he needs to get around Kyle. That time Irvin was sideways coming off the second turn. He drove the car so hard off, too, he had his car sideways.
Irvin's best finish in the 600. 5th back in 1990. Here he comes on the charge. Kyle Petty trying to hold on.
And there's Rusty Wallace on 4 fresh tires. He should drive right around these guys like they're tied to a tree. He's got 4 tires and everybody is worn out.
Davey Allison pitting.
This should be the last stops for all these drivers. If it goes green the rest of the way, they should be able to make it now.
4th place car on pit road. Davey Allison defending 600 champion.
These cars ran 60 laps earlier. They know they can go 60, so we're 58 to go, so anybody who can stop now and make it the rest of the way, I feel like that's what your leaders have been waiting on. Kyle will probably be coming in quick.
4 tire change on Davey Allison, and he's away. Meanwhile, up in front, Kyle Petty with the advantage, and it's building once again. See Ernie Irvin dropping back a bit, and there you see the 2 car. Remember, he's already made his pit stop. And with 4 new tires, he should wheel around this 42, as Neil pointed out earlier.
I think what caused a lot of that, Ken, was the 2 car, Rusty Wallace, had to race with the 4 car of Ernie Irvin for a little while, and that's when he lost the ground to Kyle. Kyle could have been in the same circumstances when he starts racing with Rusty now. The 4 car could pull it back up.
Kyle Petty making his 11th 600 appearance. Of course, this was a big day for Dale Earnhardt. His 400th career start today in the 600. He's up in 3rd.
And there goes Rusty around the outside. But see what's happened? This little bit of racing has enabled Ernie to get right back in the battle with Kyle.
343 laps complete of 400. They have completed 514 miles.
There's Irvin right on the back of Kyle Petty. Kyle's trying to get back around Rusty. Those brand new tires are good for 4 laps, and they start leveling out. He might have got the good out of his tires.
Forward for the lead. Now, we might see them pit together. Let's see if Ernie's going to take a shot at getting by him first. Kyle Petty's Pontiac leads. The Chevrolet Lumina is in second spot. The Kodak car, meanwhile, hiding in the weeds. Number 3, Earnhardt is still a major factor. Here's Earnhardt, somewhat further back on the field, but he isn't out of this thing by any stretch.
Here they go in the third turn. We'll be able to tell right here, Ken, if these guys are going to come in. This could be a bad deal for Ernie Irvin. He wanted to pit right then, but the 21 car was under him, and he couldn't get in. He was going to pit with Kyle, but he got moved out. He finally got in, but it really cost him some time.
Let's go to Randy Pembert.
Well, I'm waiting on Kyle Petty to come in. He's in. The most critical thing here on this pit stop is that the gas man, Richard Bostic, get both of these 11-gallon fill tanks in this car. The first one is in. They toss the other one over the wall. Robin Pemberton comes around to the left front. The jack goes up on the car. Left side, this is a quick pit stop so far. Second can in again just to make sure it's full. Kyle Petty drops it away. A great pit stop.
Looks like 2 great pit stops, Randy.
Well, Ernie
right
Irvin didn't have quite as great a pit stop. It was almost as good a pit stop, and they got all the fuel in as well, and the 4 tires went on well. No problems with Irvin, but he's going to go out where he started, second.
Earnhardt is pitting number 3. He slides it to a halt. Watch this stop by that Richard Childress crew, Kurt Chalmerdine and company, putting them through their paces.
It's going to take 2 laps for us to be able to tell what kind of stop Dale has compared to theirs, because it's going to take him a while to get back up to speed.
For a race fan, it's poetry in motion. 4 tire change, less than 20 seconds, tank of fuel, and Earnhardt comes out.
Ernie Irvin got around Kyle on the racetrack, and they're already beating and banging, going for the lead.
28, Davey Allison is the leader. He has not pitted yet. Then comes Trickle. But look at this battle. This is the one that could decide it later today. 4 on the inside, 42 on the outside as they wheel into the backside. That's Kyle Petty and Ernie Irvin. And what a show they have put on for this multitude. The biggest crowd in 600 history. And for the moment, Ernie Irvin draws beneath Kyle Petty. We'll be back with more of the 600 in a moment. Where our race is won, sometimes in the pits. This may be one of those sometimes. Dale Earnhardt is currently in front of Kyle Petty in second place. Ernie Irvin is in third. Davey Allison finds himself fourth, and Dick Trickle is in fifth. It was Earnhardt's pit stop and the work of his pit crew that has given him the advantage. It was a brilliant pit stop. We're going to give you another opportunity to enjoy what race fans truly call poetry in motion. Watching that free crew when they did the job that has put him into the lead, not on the track, but in the pits. Now, there's the interval. There's the 3 car. There's your second place car, Kyle Petty. There's a lap car in between, first and second, and then the yellow car. That's Ernie Irvin, the Kodak car, running third. But take a look at this pit stop. Note how well this crew did their job. You got a clock there, Neil? Let's just put a personal clock on. See what we've got.
Conrad, if these guys do this, they practice just about every day of the week. Everybody's got one specific job, and they don't try to do anything other than what they're supposed to do. Gas in the car quick, he's out of there right at 20 seconds for 4 tires.
We joined that when they were well along on that right side of the automobile before they switched over. But that was a brilliant pit stop that Earnhardt and company put together. Not Earnhardt, but those people on pit road. And they have put him into first place. Now you see Kyle Petty drawing the lead. Lap 355 is on the board. Working 356. Here comes Ernie Irvin up on the outside, getting around Ted Musgrave in 55. Closing, ever closer comes Kyle Petty in the 42 as he moves in on Dale Earnhardt in number 3. Earnhardt, he says these days, I can honestly say I get as excited now as I did the first time I rolled out on a racetrack, and I want to win just as bad today as the first day I ever sat in the car.
I tell you, that pit stop got him out there, but Kyle sure is running him down. Kyle had to race with a 4-car to get around him after the pit stop, and now he's out there by himself, and he's really working on Dale right now. He's probably closed him half the distance after the pit stop.
Closing to meet Marcus, longtime campaigner, 25. He starts here in the 600. Here comes Kyle, and here comes Ernie Irvin, also closing ground. Davey Allison in 4th. It's Trickle and 5th. Jimmy Hensley being shown in 6th. We'll be back with more of the action in a moment.
Speedway, you're looking down on the backstretch. Less than 40 laps to go as Dale Earnhardt continues to set the pace over Ernie Irvin and Kyle Petty. Hopefully this one will end under green this afternoon at Charlotte. We understand there's a line of thunderstorms moving toward the racetrack out of the west at about 20 miles an hour. Hopefully the weather won't play any role here as we get down to the checkered flag.
The Thunder is on the racetrack right now on lap 360. Ernie Irvin snuck in behind 42 Kyle Petty, and then made this maneuver to take over second spot.
Here's Ernie going down on the inside of Kyle. Watch Kyle's car just slip up the racetrack just a little bit. There's a lap car in contention there, kind of in the way of Ernie, but see Kyle's car slip. He had to chase it just a moment. That little bit out of throttle let Ernie get under him, and now Kyle's even falling back a little bit further.
Let's talk to Randy Pembert. Let's watch it one more time right here.
This way, Dick Berggren. You're going to be able to see this car slip. Once you get in there, watch Kyle's car just wiggle at least a little bit right here. Car slip, he had to roll out of the throttle. Irvin gets by, and now he's after Earnhardt.
Clears the lap country time car of Bobby Hamilton. Establishes himself in second place. Here's Randy Pembert.
Well, actually, I'm down here with the 4 crew. These guys look kind of content. They seem to be right in the position that they want to. They've gotten that car working out. But Dick Berggren is up there with Kyle Petty's crew chief.
Yeah, I'm here with Brother Robin. What is going on with your car? You're backing up.
Well, we're not backing up. There's just other people going forward right now. We're running about the same pace that we've been running. Like I said earlier, they've been coming all day. They've been in traffic. We usually run better at the end of a long run. There's 30 or so laps to go. We'll just have to see what happens.
A little bit of race to go yet.
11th race of the season. Ford has won all the races to date. Now Dale Earnhardt's Chevrolet is first. Ernie Irvin's Chevy is second. Kyle Petty's Pontiac is third. Complete rundown for you on those cars still running. This is the story of the race at the moment. Earnhardt seeking his second 600 victory, stays in first. Ernie Irvin in car number 4 has never won this race. He looks like a strong candidate to close ground and do some serious business here in this final few laps. Best 600 finish, 5th in 1990. And there's Kyle Petty, the former winner of the race. Won it back in 1987. And he has slipped back from those 2 leaders. But it's Earnhardt, the wily one, out in front here as he gets into lap traffic, moving around the Lake Speed, the Purex car, number 83 on the back straightaway. Earnhardt around 3 and 4. Right through where that crack seems to be carrying a little.
Well, that car held Ernie up just a little bit. Give Dale just a little more breathing room, but he's been coming. This guy's made up 2 laps, so certainly got a race car capable of doing anything on a given day. This thing from the start has been flying after they corrected that carburetor problem.
368 now in the record book. A 400 to be run in the 600. Second place as we get down to complete 600 miles in the 33rd annual go here on Memorial Weekend at Charlotte, North Carolina for the Winston Cup Stars. Dale Earnhardt, who says you just pull your belts down, get your eyes as big in silver dollars, and go for it. When you come out here to Winston Cup Racing, is going for it right now. But Ernie Irvin, who got up at Talladega in 1991 and apologized to the drivers for being over-aggressive, has driven a masterful event all afternoon. He has pulled right up to the number 3 car, and now Earnhardt seems to have drawn away a bit. Looking on, Richard Childress, who has seen Earnhardt come to so many victories, 52 of them, so many of them in this black and white car number 3.
You know, Ernie Irvin ran Dale down and got within 1 foot of that bumper just a minute ago. and then he lost ground. We've seen this happen a lot of times, but it could be that when he gets the car around another car, his car's not as good as he needs it to be, and he just seemed to upset the car because he ran him down, couldn't get back.
Davey Allison is 10 seconds back in 4th position. Dick Trickle for the Stavola brothers is giving a magnificent performance. He's riding in the 5th spot in that car number 8. Then it's Alan Kowicki in 6th, Gant is in 7th, Terry Labonte is in 8th. Those are the lead lap cars. A lap down is Rusty Wallace in 9th. There you see, 10 seconds back, lapping Dave Marcus. Davey Allison, defending champion in the 600. Injured last Saturday night in a 160-70-mile-an-hour crash at the end of the Winston as he won it across the line, slamming into the wall, destroying his car. Coming right back out, got our sidekick here, Neil Bonnet, to work the car into shape for him this week. Now he's come out and driven masterfully all day. 600 miles is some test. You can't lose concentration for a moment. Every second out there. Temperature 140, 150 degrees in the cockpit. There have been a total of 12 cautions today. Breaking your concentration, a little bit of a break. But that's really not a break at all, Neil.
No, because you've already got yourself in stride. You're doing the things you want to do on the racetrack. The caution comes out. Then you start second-guessing the car. Should I make a chassis change? Should I leave it alone? You get in more turmoil on the cautions trying to decide what you're doing. The racetrack is the place these drivers want to be with these cars running wide open, and the cautions don't do anything but hamper their progress.
Coming back to 377 complete. Earnhardt is in front. Ford has won every race to date this year, and now the Chevy Lumina of the Intimidator. 5-time, only man to ever win more championships than Earnhardt. Richard Petty at 7, and Earnhardt seems determined to keep on trucking. Earnhardt had said before this race, if I can't win it, the only guy I want to see in victory lane is Richard Petty.
We've got some information, gentlemen, about the pace of the race as Dale Earnhardt continues to lead over Ernie Irvan. Right before we took that last commercial break, the leader had run a lap at 165 and change, 165.13. A few laps ago, that pace was down to 163.6. So perhaps with the track breaking up, the tires going away here in the late stages, the pace of the race slowing down just a little bit.
The 400th career start of Dale Earnhardt, seeking his 53rd Winston Cup victory. Scoreless in 1992. What a turnaround for General Motors if he can flank that car in victory lane today.
He's been very confident all week. He said, you know, the thing really feels good. We can't get the big speed numbers we want to see, but the car is really drivable, and that's what he needed all day long to be driving good, but he sure got a long way to go.
We'll take one more commercial break and then be back and stay with you right to the finish of the 33rd annual Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte platform. The interval between first and second place. Earnhardt in the black number 3, sustaining that top position, while Ernie Irvan tries to chase him down. It's almost like he's trying to cool his tires. He backed off, made a little advance, and immediately the number 3 car set sail and took off again. 25 cars remain on the track. 384 of 400 laps have been completed. Only 11 cars are running at the conclusion, and here comes 4 once again closing in on number 3. Only 11 cars were running back in 66 at the end of the race. 75% of the field had failed that year that Marvin Panch won this event with some help from Richard Petty. Today, 25 cars are still out here. Some of them at the start like the number 30 of Michael Waltrip as they move into turn 3. Again, Irvin trying to close ground. The Modesto, California campaigner. East meeting West in a showdown before the largest crowd in the history of the Charlotte Motor Speedway to ever see. They say a 160,000 plus gathering has come to this 1.5-mile facility to celebrate this Memorial Day. 82nd Airborne was here. Pre-race program. The magnificent of the Star-Spangled Banner to get underway. And the final fireworks of the day are about to happen.
Yeah, they're fixing to get in some lap traffic. Earnhardt's fixing to run up on 2 cars side by side, and it's going to possibly slow him down enough. Yep, but just enough to let Irvan get right up there behind him. He's got Ricky Rudd in that car on the lap one, just slowed him up a little bit. Now Irvan's right there trying.
They got around Schrader. They closed up on Ricky Rudd. As you see the count going on, Ricky Rudd back in the 11th spot. Rusty Wallace has come back on pit road. Bobby Hamilton's car grazed the wall before while we were in commercial. Nothing serious, but they've rolled it back.
That was a great move on Rudd's part. He saw these two guys battling for the lead. He came up to him, just pulled all the way to the inside. There's Hank Jones sitting there watching Earnhardt. That crew of children says he's got to be tight right now.
Remember that Dale Earnhardt won this race 1986. He's earned over $15 million in Winston Cup racing. Came into this race in 13th position. There is Rusty Wallace's number 2, who's given it a good go. Looks like the engine is turned off on car number 2. He was up there in the thick of it most of the day for the Penske Racing Team, the Miller car.
This lap traffic they're coming up on just periodically. It's like climbing a ladder now. There's a little lap traffic all the way around the racetrack, and how they work the traffic is going to determine if they can get up here and race Dale again.
Here he is down through turns 1 and 2, as we mentioned, going for that first victory of the season. 10 laps to go into the final 10. The man in black has a lot of fingers crossed here as we get into these final moments. The Kannapolis star who came here and sat in turn 3 in the back of a pickup truck with his dad and dreamed of someday driving the Charlotte Motor Speedway, someday being like Joe Weatherly and Curtis Turner and the Flock brothers. His day may be coming again with that 53rd career win right now. And for Ernie Irvan, what a turnaround this would be. Look at him close ground again as they're up to lap number 94. Terry Labonte running in the Billy Hagan car, the Sunoco car that is maintaining 8th position.
Ken, when you're driving one of these race cars, you go to someone, Bob, you tell them, hey, you tell me when there's 10 to go. I'll try to save this thing. You let me know when there's 10 to go. I'm sure they just told Ernie Irvan that he's right after Dale now.
The $1 million bonus for Davey Allison apparently not to happen today. He's 10 seconds back. Behind Kyle Petty in 3rd. He's in 4th spot. The story for the moment is right here. Count the laps down with us, these final moments. They come around, they'll complete 392 this time. It's Earnhardt, Irvan, Chevrolets finally breaking the Ford stranglehold on Winston Cup racing.
People might ask, what's the strategy of these two drivers? You forget strategy. You go on your instinct, and you use all your racing ability. You throw everything out the window right now to race.
Now is when you got to dive in further, deeper, harder than you really want to go.
Sometimes you've got to use a little more discipline you want to. If you're sailing into too far, how many times we've seen a guy driving too deep and slide up the racetrack? That's when it goes to racing ability. In the battle, they got to use that experience to get around this racetrack and not overdrive the car. Irvan is right there. You know, I thought when you fell back a while ago, he maybe used the tires up, but he might have been saving tires because he's right there now ready to do something.
You would wonder, particularly on the Ford, he has used up a lot of racetrack, what the condition of those tires are on Ernie Irvan's machine. Solid rock run by Earnhardt.
Somebody's going to enter into it. Terry Labonte is directly in front of him. Labonte is running fast, but they're running in on him, and how they work Labonte could be a big factor here.
To Dick Bergman with Richard Childress.
Richard, at a time like this, do you talk to Dale Earnhardt or just let him run?
No, we hadn't even told him it's 10 to go. We don't want to break his concentration. He knows what he's got to do.
He sure does. 5 laps to go. It's all his. Win, lose. 6 to go. 5 next time by.
I'm getting wound up, too. I started to say 4. It's getting exciting right here, Ken. Coming under a lap car, Derek Cope still have Labonte in front of him. That's the car that's going to be a big factor.
Randy Pemberton standing by with Tony Glover.
Well, I'm here with Tony Glover. Tony, one way or the other, you've had a good run. Can he take him?
I don't know. He looks awful strong. I tell you, Dale Earnhardt's the hardest man I've ever seen to beat in the last 4 or 5 laps. But, you know, Ernie's drove his heart out today.
Tony Glover. Amazing guy. His dad was a great racer.
4 to go when it comes back around. There's only 5 to go right now. For 600 miles and bring it down to this, these guys are, it's going to be exciting these last few laps.
Reminiscent of 1980 when Benny Parsons and Darrell Walter gave us what I thought was the greatest 600 we ever saw here. That was a magnificent race, and Benny came home and looked so fine that day.
It looks like Dale through 1 and 2 is really good, and it looks like the 4 car of Ernie Irvan is better in 3 and 4. So Dale's got to get through 1 and 2 good because he loses just the least bit of ground right here in 3 and 4. So it's time to swing out on the racetrack. Here's Irvin right back on 4. Here's that lap car. See if Labonte gives him room, or he's racing for positions up there. He's still in the hunt himself with some other cars. It's going to be hard for him just to pull over and let him go.
Both of these guys have earned their stripes. Earnhardt,
got
a little loose, have earned their stripes, running all those short tracks. Here they come down for 98 this time by. Eddie Hinton wrote years ago, when you win for decades on the Saturday night bull rings, you may not get famous, but you prove you're a man. You're respected by your peers deep down. You see it in their faces, hear it in their voices. And then one day, you are there.
Here's some of this lap traffic we're talking about. They cleared that car without a problem. 2 laps to go.
They are here at Charlotte, the mecca for Winston Cup stock car racing. This is the one. All these teams, for the most part, over 80% of them, based right around here. You win in Charlotte, you've done a day's work.
Right here, getting in this corner right here, this is where the 4 car's strong. Look at him take a look to the outside. Dale's been thinking inside. Ernie takes the outside. White flag.
Final lap is underway. Urban settles down in 1. He's got one more shot to take. It's still Earnhardt in front. Remember what happened to Earnhardt just a week ago on Saturday night with $300,000 at stake when he came to turn 3. Ron's away by 3 car lengths.
Got a good lead. He got a good jump off that corner. That was Dale's end. This is the end for number 4, Ernie Irvin. He's better in this corner, but it looks like he drove it in there. The car got up a little high.
Down to finish the 33rd annual Coca-Cola 600. And by 3-4 car lengths, Dale Earnhardt has come home the winner of the Coca-Cola 600 for the 2nd time in his career, his 53rd Winston Cup career victory. Earnhardt has pulled it off, won his first race of 1992, and you'll meet him in Victory Lane in a moment.
Should have been paid by the following: Goodyear, #1 in racing, makers of Goodyear Eagles, the most successful line of high-performance tires in the world. And by Interstate Battery Systems of America, Food Lion, and the Shell Oil Company. And by Orkin, the world's best pest control company. When you've got a problem with pests or termites, call the company that uses state-of-the-art technology to solve it. Orkin, one call destroys them all. And by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
For most people in the world, the intense power of the F-16 is thousands of feet above. For you, it's a phone call away. The Air Force Reserve, a great way to serve.
The Victory Circle at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the home of Dale Earnhardt here at the end of the 1992 600. Let's join him at home.
On his way out of the race car, first guy in a General Motors car to win in 1992. Obviously a very happy, tired, a little bit tired, but not too terribly bad in the automobile. The last 10 or so laps, you had Ernie Irvin all over you, Dale.
I was driving and doing everything I could. Finally we made it back to here. Been working hard at it. You know, it's just hard to believe we hadn't won a race till now, and it's just been, you know, hard work on our part. The Goodwrench crew, Richard, Eddie Lanier, and all the guys. This is the car we ran into Wilson. They fixed it, and they come back and won this race. I can't say enough for it.
How important was that last pit stop? How much did they do for you on that last one, Dale?
We just changed tires. We didn't do any adjustments at all. We just got tires.
Your car seemed to get better all day, or it got near the racetrack. Did the car come to the track, or the track come to you?
I think the track came to us a bit. We adjusted. We adjusted in the middle of the, you know, race, took the pan off, and it really fixed it then.
How important is it to you personally to have been the guy that broke the Ford string?
It means a lot. It means a lot.
Thanks a lot, Dale Earnhardt. Victory Lane here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
I tell you what, he's pretty tough and he's pretty winded. That'll give you an indication what 600 miles is like.
David Pearson has said of Dale Earnhardt, he's my kind of driver. The Silver Fox said, in fact, as far as I'm concerned, Dale Earnhardt is the only one out there driving. David Pearson.
600 has been brought to you by Coors Light. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. By Valvoline Motor Oil. People who know use Valvoline. By Fram Oil Filters. Fram, You can pay a little now or a lot later. And by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts.
Well, we've worn out 166,000 plus racing fans here today, Neil, and we've worn out 42 cars and drivers who darn near wore out the track.
Yep, you know, Dale looked like he was whipped, and I tell you what, it's very few times you wear the racetrack out, but 600 miles around this place at the speeds they were running in the corners. Look at the hole in the racetrack. They'll be glad to fix it, though.
Oh, you bet they will. Great victory yesterday for young Jeff Gordon. Just terrific victory for Dale Earnhardt. Let's go down to Randy Penburton, who's standing by with another champion here today.
Well, a surprising, good-looking Ernie Irvin getting out of that car after 600 miles. Ernie, your crew went through a lot today, so did you. What was the key in the last 10 laps?
Well, obviously we didn't know the key because we didn't beat them, but, you know, we just didn't. We had a little trouble with the carburetor at the beginning of the race, and I think it hurt the motor and just put us behind a little. We got 2 laps down, we made them up, and all the guys on my Kodak Film Chevrolet team just did a superb job, good pit stops, all that, and, you know, got us there in the position to win. We just didn't have enough quite there at the end.
Okay, congratulations. You'll be back.
Strong second-place finish today for Ernie Irvin in that car number 4. He made a couple of runs up on the back of number 3, but Earnhardt was not to be denied.
Well, I tell you what, though, you got to give him credit to be down that early, 2 laps early in the race and fight as hard as he did all day long and come back and still have a chance to win the race. He, just like you said, he drove his heart out.
Came into this race back in point standings 17 points behind Morgan Shepherd. I would think he's picked up a couple of slots today. We'll see if we can check that out for you as the celebration continues down here in this beautiful victory circle at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Looking a little further back in the field, Kyle came across 3rd, Davey Allison 4th, Harry Gant was 5th. Terry Labonte just hung in there all day and got a 6th place finish. Alan Kowicki was 7th, Ted Musgrave was 8th, Ricky Rudd was 9th, and Dick Trickle concluded the day in 10th position. 11th was Jimmy Hensley. 12th was Dale Jarrett, involved in a hard hit early, and he just came back out and fought his heart out. Bobby Hillen was 13th. Bill Elliott, who sat on the pole, concluded the day in 14th position. There were 12 cautions on the day. The record is 13. Thought we were going to get it there for a while. 28 lead changes among 14 drivers. Here's Davey Allison, and let's go down and have a chat with him right now.
Well, Davey Allison, you look like one tired camper.
Yeah, I'm pretty well exhausted, Dick, but, you know, we had a good run today with Texaco Havoline Thunderbird. Led some laps, came up from 17th, and we just got outrun there at the end of the race. That's the way it goes sometimes.
Pretty hot in the car today?
Well, it's pretty hot out there, but, you know, we had a bunch of stuff in there to cool everything down except the floorboard, and the floorboard burned my left heel, but we'll just get ready to go to Dover next week.
Just one beat-up young man. Everything's happened to him in 1992.
A win here last Saturday night. Another fine performance. What a gentleman he is. There is a chip off the old block. And the grandfather's block as well. The late Pops Allison. We'll be back with more from Charlotte in a moment.
Of the 1992 Winston Cup season. Now the second great race of the day begins. The 166,000 fans here scrambling to get out of the parking lots and get on their way home. Something else to tell you about another battle that took place here today. The True Value Hard Charger Award. During each Winston Cup race, True Value Hardware scores the top 5 and provides points to those drivers based on their running order. The True Value Hard Charger of the race gets a $1,500 bonus. And today that'll go to Kyle Petty, who scored nearly 1,700 True Value Hard Charger points today. He led a lot of this race, of course, during the middle portions. Alan Kulwicki comes home second over Davey Allison. Ricky Rudd and Ernie Irvin, who came from so far back, winds up 5th in today's True Value Hard Charger standings.
Well, the crowd beginning to disassemble after having this marvelous day. They've been here since 9 or 10 this morning. They've really had a day and seen a great victory. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. At the outset, it was Bill Elliott, Kyle Petty in that front row. Ricky Rudd put on a dazzling display in those early moments of the race. Took that Hendrick car up in front. A lot of the time was spent side by side and wheel to wheel in this 600. Richard Petty getting loose early in the going. Had brake problems on car number 43. Got into the wall, and just at the end of this, Hutch Strickland's car in that same moment came loose in turn 4. And for the Raybestos Chevrolet of the 3-time winner Bobby Allison, that was about it. They came back out. They had been pretty badly battered in this one. Richard did a little repair work, carried some of the repairs around with him. Ken Schrader put on a great show. First half of the race. Alan Kowicki was unbelievable in the first half. A lot of people had picked Alan to win. They gave them a lot to cheer for with that Hooters Ford. Drawing away, pulling out in front. This young man that came down from Greenfield, Wisconsin. Alan Kowicki's efforts. Watch this. 360-degree spin. Got a little ding just there, but probably the luckiest driver here. Richard Petty was not so fortunate later in the day. He was involved in a couple of other incidents. Finally one in turn one that really tore the 43 up. Here's Kowicki's car with just that one bad brush on the back. Look at this. That's Mark Martin, who had stormed from 25th, moved all the way up, got drop kicked by Rusty Wallace. He came up on some cars that slowed down. Wallace had no place to go, and they scattered cars all over the first turn. Hurt Mark Martin's chances, but he hung in it, car number 6, until that motor went away. Davey Allison was again the story for some time. Here's Ballew's car. It got in trouble, the Miami racer, and everybody taking evasive action, mowing Humpy Wheeler's lawn. He's sending out a lot of bills on that one, Neil.
I tell you, they tore up plenty of stuff through that infield, and luckily enough, nobody got stopped in there and got hit while they were sitting still, but they were stacking them up all over the racetrack, just like this right here.
That's Dick Trickle and number 30. They both got in oil. And remember that this car number 8 that you see sideways at 170 miles an hour came right back into this race, and Dick Trickle wound up 10th for the Stavola brothers in the Snickers machine this afternoon.
There's Earnhardt sliding right on the bottom of the track, got through there.
And there's Schrader's 25, all torn up in the nose after he had given it such a good run here in the first part of the race.
Oh, man, that was a shame because he was really running too. There's Elmo, his chance to race when they all tried to get by him.
Pace car driver Elmo Langley. They used to love to go up and just tap him. Earnhardt relished that. That was one of his favorite things. And they finally said no more of it. Elmo didn't like it. Bad break here for Dale Jarrett. But Dale Jarrett's another fighter. He came right back, and he wound up 12th on the day after taking these licks. The Interstate Batteries car for Joe Gibbs. Kyle Petty's number 42 in the latter part of the race. He just set sail.
It looked unbeatable at that time, Ken. It looked like nobody could handle him, and at the end, he kind of went away with it.
The handle went out on that car, but it certainly gave us a lot of great moments. He fought with Ernie Irvin for some time out here, but it was a dazzling pit stop. One of the best of the year by the crew for Earnhardt that has put them here today. He sure drove a whale of a race, but a piece of that pie definitely belongs to those folks on pit road. They did him proud. Let's go to Dick Berggren, who is standing by with Mr. September, Harry Gant, who looked great today.
Yeah, he's in his locker room, too, Ken. We're in the back of his truck. Harry, you look good enough to win this thing for a while, and then it went away. What happened?
Yeah, the car, handled real good. I had a little push in 3 and 4, but all day long there, it seemed like I was going to be in contention to win. But, it seemed like the car got overloaded there coming off the corners. It just didn't have the snaps that I needed. I might have been geared a little bit high as the day went on and the track got slower. I just seemed to like. Car ran good at the end of the straightaways, but off the corner I was lacking some. And then we had a bent fender from about halfway in, and the exhaust fumes came in on the car all day. It didn't help none either. But, we're tickled. We're pleased. We're better than we ran here last week. But so we had the problem there. I thought we had a real shot at winning up there. We was racing with Kyle and them for the lead.
Young Harry Gant in the back of his truck, cooling off after a good run this afternoon here at Charlotte.
Looks like he's just been to a barbecue. You wouldn't think he'd gone 600 miles and driven so well. Let's go back to Rick Benjamin, who's standing by at the STP Pit Center.
Ken, let's take a final look at the Winston Cup point standings, unofficial after the running of today's Coca-Cola 600. Davey Allison with a good run today to 4th spot, moves his lead to about 110 points over Bill Elliott, who finished back in the pack a little ways today. Harry Gant, I want some of his fountain of youth with a good move up to 3rd, 10 points behind Bill Elliott, 9. Alan Kulwicki a little further back in 4th spot. Dale Earnhardt cracks the top 5 today off the strength of his fine victory here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Well, it's over, Neil. It was a great day.
I tell you what, the past 2 weeks, every racer has had a thrilling finish, side by side, wrecking around everything, and it was only fitting that this thing in the same way.
It was Mike Mulhern who once told of Richard Childress talking about Dale Earnhardt. He said, You know, we're a lot alike. We both lost our dads early. We came up with almost nothing. Nobody ever gave us anything. We just learned how to win. And boy, did they do it in spades today. For Randy Pemberton and Dick Berggren, Rick Benjamin, and Neil Bonnet, I'm Ken Squire. So long from Charlotte.